Are you tired of the same old pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 4,000 hours of the best pro wrestling events from over 110 of the biggest names in the industry from over 15 countries around the globe. Get your free trial today at Powerslam.tv.
You're now rocking with One Nation Radio. Welcome to the program. James Boyd, Richard Latta, and a couple friends with the show for your wrestling needs. Shopping out the rest of the IWC. We gon' tell her how it is. We gon' shoot from the hip. If they putting out trash, we gon' rip from the bits. Make sure that you tweet us and you rate the shows. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Now let's get it on the road. Hey. One Nation Sports. One Nation Sports. One Nation Sports.
Welcome to One Nation Radio. And now, here are your hosts, Rich Latta and James Boyd. And thank you for listening.
SocialSuplex.com. BWB, what's up?
Yo, what's good? It's Wale, and this is One Nation Radio. You already know.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to One Nation Radio. I'm James Boyd, and here with me, I have our co-host, the super strong rap machine, Rich Latta. What's going on, man?
A little bit of surprise for the long-time listeners with the old theme song that features a line, if they're putting out trash, we gonna rip them to bits. And that's what I came to do this week. There will be no mercy. I will be burying and unleashing the negativity.
Wow.
Well, yes, the super strong rap machine as well. I kind of dig the nickname.
Okay, so this man is out here saying there's no mercy in this dojo. He will be sweeping the leg. I'm all out of Karate Kid references, but
yes,
yeah. AEW was kind of, I didn't think it was necessarily a bad show, but I have real issues with what could be, over the horizon and the future outlook of certain people doing certain things. But we'll get to it. But, yeah, so where do you want to go first, Rich?
Yes. Well, before we get to it, I did put out a music video, just about 12 hours ago, getting kind of like some of the most love I got in 12 hours for a song. I don't know, maybe ever. So go check it out. It's on my YouTube channel. Yeah. It's called Straight Snapping 3. You can find it on IG, anywhere that you guys follow me on social media.
Yeah, link will be in the description.
What else? Yep. What else we got? Well, I'm trying to think what else. Well, I guess there's only we're going to start with the good stuff. So James, hit the music.
Okay, so we finally got the undercard stuff from last weekend's shows. So the Nagoya show, So
you ain't going to acknowledge the moment of, Stardom starting off the show for the second time ever?
I mean, I guess you say it's historic, but it's like, this is the second time, so it's not,
Yes, historic.
Like,
that is it.
Yeah, like, this, like, no disrespect to Larry Doby, but like, Larry Doby don't resonate, he don't hit as hard as, Jackie Robinson, it's a little different. It's a little different. No disrespect, like, but, it just don't really hit the same. Like, they were like, yeah, you always remember your second time, right? Like, that's not necessarily how that goes. But yeah. Undercard of, last weekend shows, Nagoya, I think that's the 24th show. Yeah, the, July 24th show. We had what looks like the beginning of a budding long-term rivalry that we're going to have for a while now, between Queen's Quest and Donna Del Mondo. They had a 8-person tag match. It is the top 4 of Queen's Quest: Momo, Utami, Azumi, and Big Saya versus the 4 members of Donna Del Mondo: Julia, Shuri, Micah, and Himeka. And I really liked the match. I thought it was a great match. I thought it also played off of the match they had, the trios match that most of the players had in February at Korakuen Hall match between
earlier the year.
Yep, and that was one of the best matches of the year in Stardom. I think I gave it 4.25 at the time. And it played off of, matching up Azumi with Julia, matching up Utami with Maika, the two judokas, and you had the two suplexing ass kickers of Shuri and Momo just going at it, and this was just an exaggerated, extended preview of a potential match they'll have somewhere down the line that Rich has been clamoring for ever since the first time he laid eyes on Shuri.
Yes.
So that's why I recommended it to you. I know.
So,
go ahead.
Because this was, how they say Dr. Dre's The Chronic, was really just a Snoop Dogg album.
Yes.
This 8-woman tag was really just, Momo versus Shuri with 3 team members around them. That's what this was. The Chronic of 8-woman tags here. But yeah, this was incredible. So Maika, this is my first time seeing her. Maika is while you're growing up, is every tough as nails, athletic woman with a knee brace that wore number 54 on the basketball team. She was excellent. And seeing her face off with Big U, as I call her, Utami, they were just going back and forth. Lots of shoulder blocks between them, and just big and hitting essentially. Azumi, of course, after my heart with the Lucha Libre moves, hit it very clean. She jumped to the top rope. I guess it's one of her signature moves. She'll give you a head scissors, but an arm drag the other person at the same time.
Drag on one arm, and then on the other, she'll catch another opponent with the head scissors coming down. Yeah, that's one of her moves.
Yeah. But yeah, this was the Momo versus Shuri show. Tons of near falls, suplexes, kicking out of finishers getting broke up. I had no idea it was going to be a draw. So this is the second match I watched in Stardom where it's just all right, the formula for the draw seems to be just don't act like the draw is coming. Just keep doing near falls and near falls and near falls and near falls, and all of a sudden the bell rings.
Yep, pretty much.
So this was excellent. At first, I was kind of confused. I was like, huh? And then I heard, the promotion music. I was like, oh, it was a draw. So, 30 minutes of great work. So I'm not going to complain about a draw, because it was they got to have a match now. So, yeah, high recommendation on this, 4.5.
Oh, okay. Damn. Okay. So the thing about the match, for me, is the machinations behind all of it. Like I said, it plays so much off of that great match they had back in February. And then once you throw in, the new addition of Himeka, also the new addition of, Big Saya, and Utami and Maika, who have had this thing for almost about a year now, back when she was just Tap Out, Taka Michinoku's, promotion, where she was in a, she's brought up, she's wrestling intergender matches, she's in, there's only 3 or 4 other, women in the promotion. They were outsourcing some of these title defenses for Utami's Future of Stardom belt. So they brought Maika in, and Utami was just having these, judo throwdowns with Maika, and Maika could never beat Utami. She still hasn't. It's always been the best she's ever done as a draw at the Cinderella tournament in the first round, when they broke up half or third or fourth of the bracket in the first round. But now that Himeka's there, and you watch Himeka for just for any one match, you're just I want her to wrestle the other power wrestlers in Stardom. So they've done this trade-off to where Utami is now focused on Himeka. Maika still wants some of Utami, but Big Saya is chasing after Maika, who is the Future of Stardom champion now, because she won the belt at the Korakuen Hall show from the 17th. So like, they basically turned this thing from Micah versus Utami to Himeka versus Utami and Micah versus Big Saya, while you continue the Shuri and Momo thing, and then like, it's a weird, in your mind, if you've ever watched Julia and you ever watch Azumi, you think it doesn't work, but then like, you see them in the ring and it's like, I don't think anybody has better chemistry with Julia and Stardom aside from Tam. So it just works somehow. I don't know if it's because like, you know, you kind of just focus on trying to throw strikes and just basing for Azumi. I don't know, but like, it just worked great. It was a great match. I enjoyed the hell out of it. But after the match, they get up and, you know, Julia talks about how she wants to make Donna Del Mondo, you know, the future of not just Stardom, but women's wrestling. And then Momo gets on the mic and says,
change the world.
I think she said something like that, which is like, that's cute. Change the world with wrestling. But Momo gets up and is like, you must be out your mind. Like, you know, we have the youth, which is true. Like, Shuri's like 31, Julia's 26, Micah and Himeka are both 23, and then like Queen's Quest, like Momo's 20, Azumi 17, Utami's 21, I think Big Saya's like 22, 23. It's like, so he's like, nah, like, we're the future, get it right, and we'll be seeing you. And then they all do their face off after they've had this match and they've readjusted, and just like, futures match right there, Hoss battle right there, ass kicking suplex, match right there. And it was great. And,
a whole bunch of kicking.
Yeah, like, they did. I figured after watching this match it felt like the last 15 minutes was just Momo and Shuri, wasn't it? Or was it? No, it was at least 10.
Right.
But it was close to 15.
Like it was a long extended period. It felt like those last 10 minutes, like Momo kept hitting her suplex or like a variation of her finish, and it would get kicked out over. Someone had to break it up every single time.
Yeah, they were giving each other the blues. But yeah, man, great match, and I can't wait to see what they do in the future. Like, I want to see them do an elimination match. I really do. Like, those shits are super fun. We were there in New York when they did one between Oedo Tai and Stars, but like, the one that they did a couple years ago with real stakes was Oedo Tai versus Queen's Quest, and like, the last person eliminated had to leave the faction. That's when Tam got kicked out of Oedo Tai, and that shit's like, you know, a lot of people's favorite Stardom match ever. So, like, given that we have like some real heavy hitters, and in the aftermath of this weekend, we're between like, you know, Big Utami and Big Saya, the tag champs now. Azumi is the high speed champion. Donna Del Mondo, they're still the trio champions, and you have Julia's the white belt champion. Like, you have like champions versus champions going at it. They're kind of like, looks like this is going to be the big thing, you know, and I love it. Like, if you're going to push them to the top, let them, you know, eventually you need to have them go to head to head and, you know, go at it. So, I hope there's plenty more to come. Now, moving over to the show after that, the Korakuen Hall, the undercard, you have high speed match. We just mentioned it. It was a 3-way match between Riho and Starlight Kid and Azumi. 7 minutes of flame. My expectations were higher. It didn't get met, but I still thought it was a good ass match. With 7 minutes, just small people moving really fast and quickly. At the end, Azumi's up getting the win over Starlight Kid because Riho doesn't do jobs in Stardom.
So it was nice to see Riho, because I missed Riho and seeing her on TV every week, or, you know, every other week. And, it was funny to see her as the grizzled veteran in there with those children, and she not doing no jobs. You already know what it is. Came off the belt. You know, it's a pandemic, so you can have your belt back, Mr. Rossi. But you know, I'm not laying down either. So figure it out amongst them.
Yeah, that's exactly what I expect to happen. Like, I'm pretty sure it was political Riho saying, "I'm not doing any jobs in your little top Joshi promotion." I don't think that actually happened. But the idea, because, you know, we talked about this about around this time, or probably, you know, in the the winter of last year, how people were complaining that like she wasn't getting pinned or submitted. I'm like, she's the fucking AEW Women's World Champion.
Why would
she's not doing no fucking jobs? You out of your mind? No, like you see who she's tagging with all the time. Starlight Kid, yes, pinned a 17-year-old. Are you out of your mind? So yeah. You know, I don't care if she does. Jobs
I would have preferred the Riho.
Go ahead.
I would have preferred the Riho Ultimate Warrior type win, but since we didn't get that, you know, this will do.
Just a foot on both of their chests. Wow.
Yes.
Oh man. Okay, so then the match after that is also worth talking about. The vacated tag match. The vacated tag belts were vacated by B. Priestley and Jamie Hayter because they can't get into the country, so they got stripped the same way that Moxley got stripped the U.S. belt. So you end up having the champions before them, Jungle and Konami, challenge for them versus what would have been the next challengers, Big Saya and Utami. Match starts off where basically they just isolate or Jungle and Konami isolate Big Saya's left elbow. They work over and over. They keep clearing Utami off of the apron. They end up outside. Konami ends up kicking them both to the floor. Then Jungle ends up hitting a plancha. Then Jungle gets up, realizing that, you know, this opportunity we can isolate, you know, the weaker Saya, obviously. And she ends up Irish whipping Utami into the steel barricade. They work over her elbow. Then Saya gets separation by coming off the ropes and hitting the Io Shirai like double back round off and drop kick. Dylan's like, how can you do that when your arm is like supposed to be destroyed? Whatever. Gets the drop kick, tags in Utami. Utami basically from there takes it the rest of the way between pretty much by herself and ends up getting the pin later on Konami after a torture rack bomb, or a second torture rack bomb. Very good match, not as good as the 4 versus 4 Don Del Mondo Queen's Quest match, but a great tag match nonetheless. I think it's interesting that Utami is going to be a tag champ again. I thought that we were kind of headed towards potentially winning the Grand Prix. It doesn't mean it's finito for that, but it kind of like lowers her percentage, obviously. But yeah, I thought another great match.
Yeah, man. I didn't catch that one, but the red and blue star brackets are out, so I guess we should go through those too, right?
Yeah. So I don't know where to start on this. Yeah, okay.
I've got them listed here, so...
Okay, well, hold on. I know where to start on this. The 5-star Grand Prix is Stardom's double round robin tournament. Is very similar to the G1. This year, there are 8 people in each bracket, so 16 participants. There is no Block A and Block B. They are called the red stars and blue stars. I call them the red block, blue block, whatever. So the rules are...
So I'm looking at it.
Well, hold on.
The spirit is the same, though.
Okay, yes, very much so. So, and we'll get to that. You'll see exactly what we mean. So we end up getting, the rules are, 2 points are at stake for each match. If you win, you get 2 points. If you lose, you get jack shit. If you get a draw, you get 1 point. You split it with the other person. So the tournament starts on this coming Saturday. It will end, I think, on the 19th. Yeah, the 19th of September. So, Rich, go ahead and go by blocks, and go by the typical blocks that corresponds with New Japan's A and B block. So start with the A block.
So we're gonna start with the A block, aka the Red Stars.
Yes, very much.
It's It's pretty on this side.
Yes.
You know, we got, you know, lots of bright colors and, you know, smiley baby faces and, you know, just roses and, you know, a couple little ruffians in there, but not too many. Of course, leading off, is the red belt champion Mayu Iwatani. Then we got Julia, we got Tam Nakano, Konami, Starlight Kid, the most babyfaciest babyface you'll ever see.
Right.
Big Saya Kamatami, Death Yamasan, and Himeka. Now, for the Blue Stars, aka the Thug section, aka the B Block, we've got Momo Watanabe, who will kick your fucking dome off.
Yes.
We've got Big U, Utami Hayashishita. I kind of butcher her name every time I say it. Yeah. We got Jungle Kiona. You already know what it is.
A power wrestling brawler.
We got Azumi. We've got Natsuko Tora.
Natsuko
we've got
Tora,
Saki
who's basically evil for the for Stardom. So there you go. B block material.
Then we've got Shuri, and then we've got Micah.
Shuri,
number 54, like I was just talking about.
Shuri, you know, the former UFC fighter. Legit, she was actually in Pancrase for UFC. So yeah, you got that. And then you also have Micah, another judoka. So you have all these martial artists and motherfuckers that kick your heads off and suplex you to death. And then you have a motherfucker that looks like evil, except she's a I don't know what she's going for, but some type. I would love to know what she's, I don't know necessarily cosplaying as, but the makeup is just like, she looks evil, legitimately evil. But she also plays a role like she is evil in New Japan, except she's not getting pushed to the moon.
I was going to say, I don't think we have to worry about her winning the red belt championship.
You know how furious I would be. Do you understand how furious I would be? Dude, I want you, okay. She won 2 points in last year's Grand Prix. And she got those points awarded to her not by pinning or submitting anyone, but by forfeit because Utami had broke her hand again. That's the only 2 points she won last year. Imagine like a year later, she's the red belt champ. I'd be like, what was all this for? What are we doing? How many points did Evil have that she won last year?
Give me your.
Did he have more than 10? Did he have 8?
There's no way. I think he at least had 8. Okay,
that's okay.
I would have to check it.
That would be appropriate given that where his status actually is in the companies. Like, he's a mid-card guy, 10 to 8 sounds about right. Right. Anyway, what were we talking? Okay, so where do you want to go from here?
So give me your top two. Give me your top 2 in both blocks.
Top 2 in both blocks. Okay, so I'm just going to do the simple look at the last night and see who are the big heavy hitters in the last night. So on the last night, you have Mayu versus Tam. In the red block, you have Mayu versus Tam, and you also have Himeka versus Konami. Julia's wrestling Def Yamasan. I don't know if that comes into play, but like they don't sound like some, you won your way to get in. So there's that. So Mayu doesn't need it. She won a title, the Grand Prix 2 years ago. She's a champion. I think I would say, if I were to look at it, I would say Tam would be my odds on pick to win this block. And then after that, I probably say Himeka, just to give her, if you're going to, give her a huge push. So those would be my 2 picks to win that block. Like, I just can't, I'm not picking a champion to win a block. Like, that's only happened twice ever in the Grand Prix history. And one of them was just to like get Io her win back after dropping the belt to Yoshiko.
I'm going to pick Big Saya.
Okay.
To win it. To win the red block, at least.
Okay, if you had a second pick, what would it be?
Yeah, to win the red block. And then if I had a second pick, I think you have to go with Tam here. The only thing is, if they win, whoever wins the block, they get a red belt title match. So I don't think they're going to do Mayu and Tam, but I mean, she could lose in the final to somebody.
Nah, Rich, if you win it, you can pick whatever you want. Like, for example, when Mayu won it in 2018, she picked Momo, who was a white belt champion at the time.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's actually either one you want.
Yeah, I'll take Big Saya then Tam.
Okay. Now, moving on to the blue block for picks. My pick would have been Shuri, but Shuri is going to have a title match in the middle of this tournament because they're going to go and do these two big shows on like the 22nd and 23rd in August, and the main event of one of those nights is Shuri versus Mayu for the red belt. So I think that clearly takes her out of the running. I'm going to say, given the matchups, I'm going to say Momo or fuck it, I'll still say Utami. Those are my two picks to win that.
Yeah, block. I'm going to go with Utami as my top pick.
Okay.
And I will take Natsuko Tora.
Oh my God.
So, and if Natsuko Tora gets to the final, she will lose the final to whoever is the red person.
Look, I just gross. I feel like you said that not because you actually believe it, but just because you just room for chaos. You just I just want James' like random Wednesday to just be furious looking at these standings and looking at tabulating these things. Like, when can I eliminate her before we even get to Hurricane Hall? No, if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. But I feel like you're trolling me.
So the reason I went with her was like, I'm just not picking Momo. I don't know why, but I'm just not picking her. I picked Utami to win. Jungle just got a shot. I don't think they're gonna let Azumi win because she's young. No. Saika Kashima, she's a geek.
True.
Shuri has that title match, and then Micah is like kind of an outsider, I think.
No. So, Micah and Emeka both they both signed officially with Stardom at the beginning of recently, like in the last couple weeks. They're actually Stardom through and through. It's just that Micah is she is positioned as mid card, bottom of the mid card / young, future. Basically, she's in the position that Utami was a year ago, when it's we expect her to get her first white belt or red belt title shot probably next year, the beginning of next year.
Yeah, it just might be too early on her. So
yeah.
I think though, so my second pick is Natsuko. I don't anticipate her winning. I'm still with Utami, but yeah.
Okay, so
that's winners. What I got.
Okay, so winners then.
I'm going to take. This is tough. This is very tough. I'm going to take Utami.
Okay.
Beating Big Saya. Run back the rematch.
Okay. See, I was looking at how this was set up, and I was looking at this red block, and I was looking at, who was in it, looking at, the final night, seeing Tam versus Mayu on the final night, seeing on the second to last night is Tam versus Julia. And I thought to myself, another thing about this is most of the time, the G1, the Grand Prix winner gets their match at the very next Korakuen Hall. But that's not a guarantee. I know that Kairi, when she won the Grand Prix in 2015, she didn't get her title shot until the anniversary show in January of the next year. So they actually held it off. If you won the G1, you go to Wrestle Kingdom. So, given that we're dealing with this Tam thing and Julia, and they're going to rematch them, in a couple for the white belt in a couple weeks. Like, I could see a scenario where they go draw. Tam beats her the second to last night of the Grand Prix, and then, a draw in the white belt rematch they're having. They wrestle each other again at the end of the Grand Prix. Tam beats her. She wins the Grand Prix, and then she challenges her for the 10th anniversary show, or the year-end climax. So I'm going to go with Tam, and I don't know whether or not that's just comments. How much of it is that common sense, or how much of it is I want her to win this fucking belt. I don't know. It's a bit of both. And then if I were to pick a second, I will go with Utami. Given the way they position her, given how her age and the lack of size on the roster right now, given that we have a lot of our taller wrestlers no longer with us in the company,
New gear too.
Yeah. Remember I tell you about she's out here looking like a damn Amazon warrior. So, yeah. So I'll go with Utami as my second pick. So I mean, and given last year, given how well she was doing until she broke her hand, it looked like she was going to she was going to make a bunch of noise. Like, she was having great matches. She probably had the best set of matches until she got hurt, and then halfway through the tournament, and then I think she was undefeated at the time. So, or maybe she had one loss, but I feel like this might be, time between either Utami or Tam to win this thing. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So now that we got the positivity out the way, those of y'all that have locked in to come hear this negativity, to hear at least me go off, it's time to begin that. But before we do that, we just want to let you guys know that this show is brought to you by Manscaped. So, Manscaped is the best in men's below the belt grooming. Manscaped offers you guys precision engineered tools for your family jewels. They obsess over the technology developments to provide you the best tools possible for your grooming experience. Manscaped has the electric trimmer. They spent 18 months perfecting the greatest ball hair trimmer ever created, and they just released that 3.0. Like I said, not the 1.0, not the 2.0, but the 3.0. So, make sure you guys, take advantage of this offer. You get 20% off and free shipping with the code SUPLEX at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with the free shipping at manscaped.com, and use the code SUPLEX. So, let's get to, something else that was on the balls, but, not the razor. The rest of the wrestling world.
Okay, so we'll go in chronological order. Monday Night Raw, third hour, had a huge drop off compared to the rest of the show. The rating was down. I think the third hour was either on par or worse than AEW, Dynamite, and NXT viewership combined in the third hour, which is troubling considering that the Wednesday shows were up against sports. And Raw wasn't.
Yeah, and each other.
Yeah, so it was funny because the wrestling on that hour was very good. You had the Raw Women's title match between Sasha and Asuka, and then you had Ziggler versus Dolph, which is whatever. No one. It wasn't even a title match at the time, but sorry.
Ziggler versus Drew?
Yeah, I must have said Dolph versus Ziggler. I probably said that. No, but McIntyre versus Ziggler. That was a match that was originally billed as another title shot for Ziggler, but because Randy Orton earlier in the show called out McIntyre for SummerSlam, they nixed it. As far as re-editing around the show, because the show was recorded the week prior. Yeah, that match was okay, but it's just it's Dolph Ziggler. Like, what do you, in an Extreme Rules match? Like, they worked really hard, but but a lot of the scorn from the internet was from the finish of the Asuka and Sasha match, which, like, I understand the scorn if you're just like, well, everything's broken in this company, why would they follow through or fix anything? But I gotta tell you, like, I love the match, but, like, the finish, like, I thought the finish was a smart finish, and, like, I completely understand why everybody else hated the finish, but, like, in my mind, I'm thinking, like, in a vacuum, this finish absolutely works. But I understand why everyone was like, no, James, in context inside of this company that's ran this storyline and given its history for killing baby faces in its wake, like, like the Terminator, you know how this is going to go. You shouldn't even like this because you know where it's going to go. And I'm like, I understand that, but I liked it. I'm sorry. I did. I like the idea of a babyface has a long-term tag partner. Their tag partner has an injury history. You're in a title match versus another person that has a tag partner. The evil tag partner attacks the babyface tag partner's particular injury set, while, the hero has the match, close to about one, is close to singing in her submission. And then she basically has to make a choice between her friend and her safety, or the title. And this person chose her friend's safety over the belt, which is, like, supposed to make you relatable and supposed to make you someone that is, I don't want to say a hero, but make you somebody worth rooting for. That's what I'm going for. Somebody worth rooting for because you care about your friends. Like, one of the big things for me about Kenny Omega when he won the IWGP title over Okada was that, like, he was going through so much shit with the Young Bucks at the time about, like, friendships and everything else. And then, like, when it came down to it, they were in his corner. He won the belt, and the first thing he did was, after he got to his feet, when the belt was going to be presented to him, was go to hug his friends and make good with his friends instead of going straight to the belt. Like, that was one of the better things that I've enjoyed, small little things of character that I've enjoyed with wrestling over the last 5 years, was that little moment. And, like, there were hints of that, and I think, honestly, like, the tragedy of, or not tragic, but, like, the tragic moment of, she made this choice to save her friend, and ultimately, like, she still failed. Like, that's, in a different scenario, away from Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard's bullshit, like, that makes you want to root for her harder and get her vengeance on these two assholes. But I understand, it was a fucked whole situation where, like, she never got pinned by a ref, so why is she not the champion? Why does she not have championship advantage? I understand that, but, like, I just like, in the moment, what that was. Like, obviously, it's more than just a moment, it's a bunch of moments all tied together. I understand that. Go ahead, kill it, Rich.
I sat and sat. I did not watch this show, but everything up and down my timeline.
That match was awesome, by the way. You should watch the match.
It was WCW 2000 all over the timeline as far as the eye could see. I think where I'm looking at it is this was a rematch to a match that had one of the worst finishes I've ever seen in the history of wrestling, from the pay-per-view. Then in the rematch, like, you switch the belt, via this, you don't pin or submit the champion again. Then I start thinking about Asuka's entire title reign, how she won a Money in the Bank briefcase by climbing the building and going up an elevator. And then the next night, she was like, oh, you're actually the champion because, Becky Lynch, elite level, worked her way out of this fucker, in this pandemic. So Asuka goes to her whole title ring, going to fucking double countouts with Nia Jax. All these matches with Charlotte were horrible endings. The two Sasha Banks match, or the match with Bayley, where is nothing but DQs and everything like that. And then this, and it's like this culmination of bullshit for this whole fucking title reign. They've made this belt look ridiculous. And then Sasha Banks comes up with a championship, and it's just like, wow, this is how y'all gave, Sasha Banks a run. Oh, really? Thank you, Vince. Like, just like, it's so broken. Everything's broken because one terrible finish leads into this other terrible finish that they think is going to get them out of it. But the thing is, if you were going to, they're just stringing shit along.
No, Rich, you're right. The problem is no one, after you just detailed that, and that's not even the worst storyline that's going on with WWE television, while you have any faith that Asuka is in fact going to get her vengeance on Bayley or Sasha. Right? Because you're just like, this is all go away heat on the company for fucking with you for months.
All Bayley's and Sasha's matches, it's been ridiculously weird finishes and DQs and everything. And it's just like, well, why wouldn't they just roll it over?
Right.
And by that point, you're just like, what does this belt mean? This is like the WCW world title in 2000.
And another thing, right? I imagine machinations are, well, we don't fuck with Shayna like that to actually put the belt on her or to put her on SummerSlam, even though we put her in the WrestleMania match against Becky. Nia is like, no, we don't want to do that with Nia because then it's like, okay, so now we're making storylines about the fact that she injures people. So we could do that. Ruby, we've beaten her like a drum. We were pretending to not exist. We were pretending to see the shining light that's coming off that is the star that is Bianca Belair. So let's do this thing with Sasha where we had her doing these matches or whatever else. They're good matches. Let's give her and then they change their mind. It's like, all right, well, let's since their match is so damn good, we can't come up with matches any better than Asuka or for Asuka right now. Let's extend this all the way to SummerSlam, and then we'll give Asuka her big quote unquote win. Here's the problem with that, right? If Asuka gets her belt back by beating Sasha Banks, that will then be the 5th time that Sasha has won the Raw Women's title and lost it in her first goddamn defense. And also, the 4th time it happened, Alexa Bliss, a heel, talked about how Sasha couldn't keep the title. She always lost it. Which means it brought attention to the fact that she's a fucking loser, and also shows you that Bayley won this belt for Sasha. She's not deserving of the Raw Women's title, and yes, she is a heel. Heels win by not deserving shit all the time, but
it's real fucking telling when they put out those graphics with Days as champion for all these women's champions.
Shit single digits for Sasha.
And Sasha ain't even on them shits.
Right. Right. And it's it'd be one thing and there's also another thing, it'd be one thing if she wasn't one of your top draws right now, but she is. So it's all right, so are you going to move Sasha to, or not, have her be the Raw Women's Champion, and then, she's still the tag champion, so she can still go back and forth on both shows? And when are you going to blow this fucking thing up between her and Bayley? Because, that's clearly still the match you're doing. All of that was what Bayley, attacking Kyrie was, or in a well-run company, is what Ciampa was doing with Johnny Gargano at the end of 2018, beginning of 2019. Is look, I don't want you near my title, so I'll go help get you your own title so you can leave me the fuck alone. That. If there was a well-ran company, that's what this would be, but we don't even know of that because this company can't even pop a squat and take a shit if you asked it to. So, yeah.
Yeah, man. The Bayley-Sasha Banks match, I could care less if it ever happens.
It'll end in a fuck finish, so who cares?
Yeah, we saw, what they could do together 5 years ago.
Yep.
I'm not clamoring for it again, especially with, no fucking fans there,
yeah, cause
and the finish will be bullshit.
Well, that's another thing. Is what about the crowd when they had a moment? What crowd? What makes you think there will be a crowd at WrestleMania 37? What at this point makes you think that we will be A-okay to be packing 60,000 people in a building together in Los Angeles in I think it's March 28, 2021? What makes you think that's gonna happen?
Not happening.
Yeah.
Like, hell no. Like, this is like, yeah. Lots of WCW 2000 all over the timeline. And it was just like, well, another way to make your belts mean less. And I would be furious if there was a belt that I cared about that was being changed via count out, or not even count out, just abandonment. Like, just like, yeah, she left, so I'm the champ now. What? Come on, man. Like, but
I just wish, right now, from this very point forward, we could just pull Asuka and Sasha and Bayley in whatever else, and we move them to any other brand or promotion in the world, and then like have them finish it out from there, away from Vince McMahon, away from Bruce Pritchard. But it's not gonna happen. Sad shit.
Good God. What we got next, man?
I guess it'll be Wednesday wrestling, right?
Yeah, let's get to it. So this episode of AEW Dynamite and some of the things that happened on it. My God, I fucking hated it. I sat here and I was watching this show infuriated. Just seeing the things, and you know, we talked about a long time before he showed up, and Zack Ryder, Matt Cardona, Sir Sam had an excellent column on Lords of Pain or WrestlingHeadlines.com. It was funny because when you sent that link to me, James, I sent immediately a message before I read Sam's column of like, bro, Zack Ryder, it's not like he's even like you look at the rest of the people that showed up, like these are people that wanted to leave WWE. Zack Ryder's just like got fucking fired after eating shit forever. So I was like, he ain't even like these dudes. He was just content, like just wilding in it, being a mark, like like for working for the WWF in the Northeast, brother. Like, nah, man. Like, and then I read Sam's column, and Sam, like, you know, lays that out in a lot more detailed fashion than I did in like a quick message. I was like, wow, we've essentially had the same thought.
Like, so I'm not on the same thing that y'all are on, where it's like, I need y'all to hate Vince McMahon's professional wrestling in order to be to sign on with AEW. Like, I think
it's like these people asked for the release. Like, they had the heart to, like, if it wasn't being like nothing was done with them, they had more ambition for themselves. Like, I don't know. The thing with Ryder, it's like, you know, he didn't ask for his release like Shawn Spears, like FTR, like Brody Lee, like Matt Hardy. Like, he didn't ask for his release. Like, and a lot of these people didn't have all negative things to say about leaving, but you know, it's just their time. They weren't like Jericho, where it's like, yeah, I can't go back to that. But Cardona was content eating shit for a decade. Like, like I don't know the value that he brings. Like, at this point, it's like you're not some guy that's a game-changing star. You're not an elite level talent. You're not a super worker. You're not someone that's a can't miss. You're a dude that plays with fucking wrestling toys and has a podcast. And he's been on the WWE platform that long to where he's amassed a certain social media following, of 1 million viewers on this or 1 million followers on this platform, 2.2 million, you know, on another platform. But if these numbers were so valuable, why wasn't he ever fucking used anywhere?
Well, I mean, I mostly agree with you, but saying that, like, WWE doesn't see the value in somebody, therefore there is no real value, is like, nah, I'm not hearing that, because WWE is incompetently ran. So, but like, I don't want to see him in AEW either. Like I imagine that he has a couple matches. No, well, hold on. I feel like it's going to be very similar to, or a worse version of the Jack Swagger thing, where like He comes in, they're going to do something with him, make you want to give him a chance. He starts having these matches, and he's the same fucking person he was in the ring that he was in WWE. And be like, oh yeah, that's right. That dude is a jag. Never mind. And then you got to shuffle around from there. And it's like, look, if that's Cody's friend, it's clearly cronyism. But we're gonna see, and I'm interested to see, just for the fact that, like, I'm pretty sure I have a pretty good idea on how this is gonna end up. And, like, we have said things, and people have said things to us, on the network, and we're not gonna name no names, as far as, like, the outlook for this kind of guy and this kind of element. And me and you both made it known that, like, this dude is not built for this. There's nothing that we've ever seen to make us think that dude is built for this. And we're gonna see when that bell rings, and I feel pretty confident about it. So, like, I understand you're upset, or not upset, but, like, irritated as fuck about it. But, like, my irritation isn't really there because, like, we were talking about the hypotheticals, and we get into speculation because then we gonna see. In the words of T.I., we gonna see. Yeah. So I kind of, I kind of relish in the moment. Like, I'm kind of happy he decided to bring his ass, down to the stage because I don't think he got it, and it's gonna be fun to be.
Somebody gonna be right.
And I think me and you gonna be right, and that's just what it is.
Like, I'm tired of the Codyism, like, these fucking guys, like, all the fucking press runs, like, we're not here just to sign every WWE guy, bullshit, and then, or lots of them, like, and I understand, yeah, you're gonna get guys that work from WWE, but I give a fuck about Scorpio Sky, who has, like, over 20 wins. He has the third most wins in the company, but he can't sniff getting booked on Dynamite.
Who's that again?
Did I break up?
No. I heard you. Just
Scorpio Sky of SCU.
Sounds familiar. Rings a bell. I'm trying, ball guy?
Joey Janela.
Scorpio Sky, ball guy,
no hair. They say Kobe when he does a drop kick. That's the name of his drop kick, but yeah, like, and I just think, it's more people getting put out the way, for, just the blatant cronyism. I'm like, well, we got Leo Rush and ACH showing back up to fucking GCW over the weekend. Who called them? Was a call made to either one of these gentlemen? Like, no, we had to go get Matt Cardona. Okay. I see what this is. Like, be who the fuck you say you're gonna be.
Yeah,
like,
and the thing is,
like, what is this? Like, I'm sorry. Zack Ryder's not 27 years old. He's at least 35, 36. Like, he's not about to just roll some new version of himself out there that we haven't seen. You might see, I looked through some Zack Ryder footage, from some things, like, he had that match in 2015. He did like a 450 off the top rope, but I don't want to minimize it like it's this, easy thing, but he's a lot younger then. He was a lot slimmer then. He definitely showed up in great shape. And if you're not under contract, they don't test you. And I don't know exactly what the AEW policy is, if there is one. I don't know. It just, I don't think this doesn't inspire. This doesn't inspire.
I don't think there's much of a policy given.
Cage.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. Zack Ryder, Matt Cardona.
Like, this does not inspire confidence. This does not make me want to watch. Like, when I thought about, the alternative that was being created, like, led by, like, there's a couple different parts of AEW that I think that we're being able to divide the promotion up in a pie, right? Of what type of wrestlers are under this thing, and the Matt Cardonas, your fucking Jake Hagers, your Codys,
Hardy.
Sometimes Matt Hardy, like, these guys, like, this isn't who I was thinking of. Right. Like, when, I was thinking about Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, the Lucha Brothers, Ray Phoenix, or, fucking Jericho at this point, Pac, Private Party, SCU, like, that's the energy that this shit was. And then like the more that this shit starts to seep in, all they're doing is giving ammunition. And basically like it just feels it's not what I wanted to fall in love with. Like, you know, it's not Hangman Page and seeing how far the fuck he's gonna go. It's not Darby Allin, you know, it's not Sammy Guevara. It's not like, you know, the class of guys that we're getting invested in. Even in, you know, those of us that are completionists for this shit, and I watch Dark, like I'm getting in, I feel like on the ground floor of a lot of the QT Marshall students that are, you know, here and showing up every time, like Lee Johnson or Will Hobbs or, you know, Alan Angels, someone like that. And it's like, I don't care about Zack Ryder. Like, I don't want to fucking watch Zack Ryder. I saw Zack Ryder's story. Like, this isn't what grows companies at this point. Like, it's new people getting to higher positions. This guy is the same dude that he's always been, in a different color now, and you know, a harder beard, essentially. I'm sorry, like I'm not here for it.
Yeah, I agree, but like I said, we're gonna see.
You know, Ricky Starks, you know, that's what I'm trying to see right now. You know, Brian Cage, that's what I'm trying to see. Different shit. You know?
Yeah.
So, let's get through this fucking show. My God. Opening match. 10-man tag. Garbage. WWE finish. Getting distracted by music and shit. Anyone that ever listens to this show, or you speak with me and you be like, yeah, Rich won't say nothing negative about AEW. Bullshit. I will come on here and rip these niggas up like they're fucking Vince if they so compel me to. Like, we got a 10-man tag here, and who, you know, if it was me, you know, why aren't we having Jungle Boy and Sammy Guevara do all the working here? You know, like whose idea was for that not to happen? You know, I don't know, but Matt Hardy fucking comes out of nowhere. He's not in the match, and all 10 guys all of a sudden disappear and pushes Sammy off, get the bullshit ending, and yeah, bullshit. The paralyzing music. So, Moxley cut a promo backstage. He said, any thoughts on that on your side, James?
I wasn't as down on the match as far as the wrestling. I just thought that I was totally below my expectations. I thought it was a fine match, but I was expecting like a great match. So it was disappointing from that aspect. Yeah, I you know, cause I've watched so much fucking wrestling that I forgot that was a finish, and yeah, that was a bad finish. Like, you know, it's also confusing for the Matt Hardy Guevara thing, cause like, last we left off, he was trying to convince Sammy that, like, Inner Circle is no good for him. Meanwhile, you're going to convince him of that by helping him lose matches and stunting his career by losing matches because wins and losses matter. Sounds unproductive to me, Matt Hardy.
Yeah. So they were going to do that match, and then, like, it was booked for that night, and then all the stuff came about Sammy and Sasha Banks, and that match got put off the table. So I assume they're trying to get back to that. But so Moxley cut a promo. Yeah. I mean, you could have, like, I don't know, you could have done a million things. Except distraction music shit, and it's just like these guys wrestled like the total mail-it-in New Japan Road to match.
Rich, do you remember? Do you remember how Seth Rollins got left out of the 2017 Royal Rumble? Because
yes.
Oh my fucking god. Him versus Sami Zayn, winner gets a shot. Triple H's fucking music hits. He gets distracted in the corner. Sammy catches him with the corner kick and pins him. And then that man showed up like 2 days, a week or so later to take over, and and then security grabs that man and escorts him out the building. And there talking about, yeah, this is doing so good for Seth Rollins. That man ain't been the same since. I take that back. He righted the ship by himself with his own 2 fists and his own 2 feet during that gauntlet match. But outside of him wrestling his ass off as if he was Chris Brown in the BET Awards, they have fucked him up left and right ever since he tore his knee. What's he doing now? The Monday Night Messiah. He pulling motherfuckers' eyes out. I'm sorry, we're talking about AEW, but I just had to remember, like the last time someone I remember lost the fucking music was like, look how disastrous that was.
So Moxley did a pre-tape promo on Cage and Starks, kind of just a promo. Then we got Cody versus the War Horse. Now, James, had you ever watched the War Horse wrestle? Had you ever seen any of the Twitter stuff on War Horse?
No. And honestly, I thought that he was going to be like Buddy from NXT UK with like the gimmick on wrestling. So, like some type of like a mascot's head on. So, it just turned out he came out, he had face paint on, and he had like, some, I guess, appropriately themed gear, and I was like, okay, he's just a guy. All right, let's see how they wrestle. And then they started wrestling, and Cody was pretty good in the match throughout the whole match, and he was selling his ass off for this dude, but the dude never rose to the occasion. I have nothing to say bad about Cody here. Cody did his damnedest. Cody should be commended for trying to do all this with this guy, do all this for that guy.
James,
he ain't have it that night.
This match compelled me to defend Cody Rhodes on Twitter. This is not something I'm normally in the business of.
Cody did nothing wrong. Cody did nothing wrong. Cody did everything he was supposed to do.
All I had to see in these comment sections was for weeks, maybe even months, ever since this TNT title thing's been going on and they've been, marketing it to outsiders. The War Horse fans are some of the most annoying people I've ever seen, like, just overrunning comment sections. I'm like, all right, so this motherfucker, I guess he better be the second coming of Luthez, because, boy, like, I watched the match. I was just thoroughly unimpressed.
Right.
And
he's not a good athlete.
I watched a lot of wrestling. I watched a lot of styles of wrestling. We have a group chat. We have 2 group chats that we're normally in. This motherfucker War Horse couldn't get over with any of us. And there's like 10 people in one and like 13 or 14 in the other. These are fans of Lucha Libre, Puro, Shoot, Joshi, Technical, Spectacular, New Japan Main Event, Epic Style, Indie. All fans of all types of spectrums.
Catch
old
wrestling.
School, 80s, 70s, 90s.
Stuff. Yeah.
This
high
motherfucker
speed.
War Horse High Speed couldn't get over with any one of us.
Yes. I remember saying, like, this man failed to impress in all disciplines of professional wrestling.
And it's not like he sucked. It was just like he was just there. I'm like, I'm like, so while Scorpio Sky spends another week adding up, another win here, we've got this motherfucker Cody and these people performing charity out here. Like, that's one thing that AEW needs to, I think, get a hold on as a company, is the perception that the fans, or loud pockets of social media will impact them. Like, it's cool to like listen, and I think that's like really one of the things the company's built on, but you have to know when to give in and when not to, because it's looking like a lot of charity that's going on. And I think a lot of wrestlers are picking up on this, because I'm seeing fucking petitions. I'm seeing, fans start this, and then wrestlers start basing their whole social media on it. I have never seen much like desperate action like this in so long. And it's like, stop the charity. Like, because I come to watch the motherfuckers that are the best in this shit, and it's like, I'm sorry, I don't want to watch Gentleman Jack Jervis take on Cody next in the Open Challenge. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to watch random indie wrestler that has been booked outside of his state for a decade get a shot at Cody. I'm sorry, I don't want to watch Lufisto come out here and wrestle on national television against Cody. I'm sorry.
When she wasn't even good 5 years ago.
There is a whole roster playing backseat to this charity shit. This is not it.
Yeah, okay, so I'm torn because, correct me if I'm wrong, Rich, because you were following this stuff a lot closer than I was at the time. But maybe this is the vibe I picked up, and maybe I'm just, I'm just wrong on the vibe. But I have never been as into AEW as you have, because, especially once it started getting rolling, because I was under the assumption, and a lot of that's my fault, that this was going to be, kind of held as the best of what was left of the American Indies after NXT has rated it, plus, international talent, and we were going to try to book things in a similar fashion to, territory television studio wrestling. And a lot of that is true. Like, their booking is very similar.
I'll say they're doing that. I think they're the best book promotion going.
Right. So, I wouldn't disagree with you on that. Like, as far as their booking, I think their booking holds up to that feeling. I think a lot of their matches, while they are consistently very good, I am left feeling empty because they are not doing a lot of the wrestling that I thought they were going to be doing. I thought they were going to be doing a lot more wrestling that's more similar in style to, like, the NXT big matches, and aside from, like, the Kenny stuff in the Heyman stuff, in the Young Buck stuff, we really don't get that up and down the card necessarily, and that's fine. Like, everybody has their own flavor. But some of these choices that they've made with these non-marquee people, and also you look at what they're doing with the influx of former WWE talent, and it's like, this is
feels like somebody's like has some type of influence, like,
yeah, and like, I like the idea that they try some things, and like, maybe if I go through and watch more Warhorse, he has some bangers, and then just like, it was a bad night. I don't know. But watching that dude run the ropes and looking at his level of athleticism, I don't think that he could be that much better given the way that he wrestles. Like, I don't know, man. Like, it was just, he didn't impress. And this happened at a time where, like, Cody is giving him everything. Like, he was way more given to Warhorse than he was with either Darby match, with Mark Quinn, with Ricky Starks. Like, hell, even with Eddie Kingston before, and all they did was just hit each other hard. So it's just like,
Speaking of that, Eddie Kingston is signed. The best promo company gets even stronger in that department.
Yeah, so, we'll get to it later in the show, in the main event, but yeah, speaking of Kingston and Cody, but yeah, I just, Warhorse, it didn't work. It just didn't, it was a no for me, dog. And it seemed like they already have him fitting for a storyline with the Dark Order, so,
I don't know. I don't know if he's around. I think that's just one off. That's like a way to get you out of the angle, and so like, he's not booked next week. So and he's not on Dark next week. So don't do it. Like, right now, let the Warhorse go back. Let them enjoy a raised price on the independent circuit, and just keep working on your craft, as they say. So, and maybe try again down the road. So because, like, a lot of people like the guy, so there's something to be said for that.
Yeah, and
but,
I don't know his age. I don't know his age, but there is room for improvement and all that and that kind of stuff. Because it wasn't like he was lost out there. It's just that it was like there was no
regular
oomph there. There was nothing to take it to the next level. Like this was just like solid, like 2.5 star level wrestling coming out of that dude. When it's like Cody is giving you the room to go out there and kill it. Like, and this dude did not hit. This dude was not like Killer Mike on the whole world. He did not hit the beat running like Randy Moss. He did not do such a thing. So, yeah.
Then Silver and Reynolds came out. The Dark Order, incredible on BTE. These guys ran in and jumped on Warhorse and Cody, and then Arn, acted like he was going to fight him. So you want some of this, old man? And then Matt Cardona comes out, as we talked about, ran in for the save, and him and Cody has yet a third friend now, James. So when I heard Alvarez and Meltzer talking about this, I don't know if I've ever been as disappointed in them for saying what they said in the days following this as I was. Like, I think the last time I was this disappointed in them was like some of the capping that they were doing for Charlotte the last couple of years. Like, how do you not see this? Like, and then like, oh yeah, I can think of promos right now. It would be really good, if he comes in and he turns on Cody. I'm like, oh, so like the last two friends he had in the promotion.
Yeah.
So pretty soon we're going to figure out that the problem is actually Cody. It's like, why do so many people keep turning on this man?
So, you mentioned the disappointed in Meltzer never saying, like I listened to, The Observer, from the night after the Wednesday shows, just, I think either earlier today or last night, can't remember. And honestly, I get where they're coming from, but as far as one of the most disappointing things, like, I think you need to like circle back to like the stuff he said about, PWG and, Excalibur. And
I forgot about that whole situation. We should go ahead and pivot to that.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. But yeah, let's just this happened back in, before PWG became PWG, and Steen in Excalibur and Generico and the dude that was in the black person that gave them the green light to say this shit, allegedly, all instantly regretted doing it at the time. And it's like, hey man, I'm not trying to hear that shit. Like, Kevin Steen is a grown ass man with all these with kids and all that, and he's older than me, so I'm not trying to hear I did it because this random black guy gave me the okay or insisted that I do such a thing. Like, and we talked about this on the we talked about this a couple years ago when we first saw the video of this. And like, I have not rocked with Kevin Owens the same way after this happened. Same for Sammy for being a part of it. Sammy didn't say nothing, but Sammy was involved in the angle. Like, Sammy didn't throw his body in front of this shit saying, I'm not going out there for this shit to happen and whatever. So at the time for me, I still feel the same way about the shit. Like, you went out there and you said this, and you could tell me about somebody, told or gave them the green light to say this is also black, and I got a newsflash for you. One black person give you the okay to say that shit does not okay you with the rest of us allowing that shit to slide. There is no thing as a pass for none of that shit. Like, we did not agree upon this at these meetings that y'all think we have, but we don't. So I ain't trying to hear it. As far as Excalibur or whatever else, like, I imagine that they're gonna send him away the same way they sent away Sammy to go, seek some version of sensitivity training and come back on TV eventually. I think that, that's the very best case scenario for it, because like, it's one thing to be just one of the athletes, another thing to be the person that's the face, one of the first faces you see on the show every fucking week. So,
yeah.
If they need more from him, I see why they would need more from him. I don't know what they do. Like, if they fired him, I would shrug. Okay.
Yeah,
because it was brought to our attention that there's more of this stuff, and that's one thing that pissed me off about the Meltzer things. Because like Meltzer said, it's somebody's like it's treated like it's some isolated one time incident. It was like all this time you've been talking about all this PWG, and like there is more of this stuff for him to be found allegedly. So.
Not just him, like lots of guys. Like that's what Josh was telling us at least. Like what the fuck was going on out there? Like,
oh yeah,
and that ain't that long ago.
Hey, that's not the South. That's California.
Yeah. Let me tell you a little secret about California, James. So, or not everybody else.
Huntington Beach.
Yeah. So I lived in Huntington Beach. Upon reflecting on that, so when I was in 5th grade, I believe between the 5th and 6th grade class, because the elementary school went up to 6th grade. So I was there in 5th grade. I want to say I was one of 3 black kids in the 5th and 6th grade. Yeah. So those are just the numbers of kids around there. I started thinking about population. Yikes. The Orange County below LA County. Yeah. Oh yeah. That might as well be fucking Mississippi. Like, if you pull up the dot census map, what else? All the big cities that you can think of, Oakland, San Francisco, fucking LA, lots of diversity of, everything you can think of, all cultures, like, Chinese, Japanese, Taiwan, Filipino, everyone, like, black folks, white folks, Mexicans, I don't recall seeing a lot of Puerto Ricans in LA, but, you start getting out to like Riverside and like the Big Bear area and all the other places in California, because California is so fucking big. Right. North and Southern California are like totally different states itself. Now, when you start thinking about like the mid parts, like, Santa Barbara, Santa Monica, Rancho Cucamonga, like the parts outside LA, like it's like any other place on the map. But except the populations are fucking multiplied.
Yeah. Like that.
And it sucks. Like hearing this stuff.
I was like, yeah, that's one of those things where like people always talk about, like, living in Florida my whole life. It's like hearing people talk about, the South has its special brand of racism. It's like, no, not really. If you're saying the special brand of racism is that there's more black people here, then yeah, sure. But like, if California was 40%, was like 40 or 50% black, like Mississippi is, it will look like exactly like Mississippi. Don't kid yourself. Like, look at the residential segregation and house segregation in these cities that have like black populations, and nowhere like you can spout off any major city. I can tell you what part of the city, north, south, east, or west, where they have put black people. Like, don't kid yourself. So yeah,
extremely disappointed because I'm a fan of Excalibur's commentary. I think he's like the voice of the promotion in a lot of ways. Like, it's not Ross, it's not, Shabani, for as much as we love him. It's Excalibur, the guy that knows the stories of all these guys. But like, apparently he's just someone that was out here saying nigga as well. Like, yep, you can't trust nobody. Nope. Damn near. Like, and it's just like, you just wait to see who's next, unfortunately.
Yeah. So as far as him, like
if he shows up, cool. If he's gone, cool. Like, we can find someone else that's the voice of, know, that knows about this shit, that can do it. Like, I know commentary is not necessarily the easiest position to fill, but I mean, they got a lot of people there. So
yeah, and they have people that they've also given run to. Like, they can pull out Golden Boy and we can see what they can do with that. There's always Ross. I don't like Ross in the play-by-play role anymore. I think that's far past his prime. But but I mean, between him and Shivani, they could trade off between matches if need be. There's still Taz lean on as far as the and Jericho from time to time as far as the color commentary. But yeah, man, like if they deem him worthy of needing him to come back or wanting him to come back, like he's gonna have to. They're gonna have to, you know.
He's gonna have to throw himself in front of the train.
They're gonna have to send his ass somewhere and let it be known that this, you know, what was going on. Like, I have yet to see any like thing like that similar to the Sammy thing. Because when the Sammy thing happened, it was like seemingly like an hour or two later, they are like, his ass is going to sensitivity training.
Right.
So I ain't seen
the
none
silence
of that yet.
around his is the silence around his is like, it's like, wow. It seems like there may be a longer investigation going on. It feels like they're trying to uncover the rest of it and see exactly what type of action they need to take.
Well, I mean, that is the appropriate route to go about it, because, you know, just like we mentioned, like Josh had pointed out that, like, there's lots of this shit. So it's like, all right, we don't want to just have them go and do one thing and we call someone, they bring them back, and all of a sudden there's some shit that's even worse. And then it's like, well, fuck, now, all right, now it's on us because we didn't do the homework. So, and I mean, quite frankly, we don't know if there's been homework. I don't know. I haven't listened to Observer. I don't know if they said they've gone back and they're digging further into it, but at the least,
well, Tony Khan.
So at the least, he need to send his ass away for at least, for some time. I don't know how long, but for some time. So
Mr. Tony Khan,
into this shit.
The wrestling encyclopedia, you know so much about what happened on every date that's ever gone down in the history of the business. I'm gonna need you to start going through your PWG files that you have, because this is another like if you got this guy hanging around and, like Jen said, more stuff comes out, this isn't like exactly the utopia for black wrestlers right now anyway. It looks like, as far as being pushed commodities and everything, it's like you're bringing, I see the moves you're trying to make. You're not validating them completely yet, but you want to make this a place to where black wrestlers can go. Like, I'm not going to say all wrestlers. I'm going to say, because we've seen all the wrestlers that feel comfortable going there, but there's some missing. Lots of them. And then, Leo Rush and ACH not being on the radar is extremely telling right now. When you start remembering those reports, like, yeah, you know, such and such may have ruined their reputation within the business. Like, okay, well, who was giving Meltzer this information? Was it AEW? Because it feels like it is. Like, right. So, yeah, figure it out and start being who you say you're going to be. Because, like, how long has it been, James? We've been, we talked about this, I want to say, 2 weeks ago when Jeremy was on the show? I was like, it's a lot easier to correct the problem sooner rather than later, because later things like this happen.
Think about it. Like, we've been talking about this since hell before they even had Dynamite as on air. Like, we were talking about it then. We had a discussion, part of it during the AEW year in review segment with Amy and with Floyd. And no, I'm sorry, that was about the women's division, which is like, was just kind of, it seems like, you know, we'll be getting to that one eventually. But yeah, it's just not good at all. I don't know where are we with the show now that we're talking. I don't know where we left off to talk about Excalibur. I don't know what we even did to even bring that up.
So we were talking about you know, Cardona, and then
all right, we're past
but
that.
after that, yeah. So there was, you know, a more pre-tapes. Jericho and challenged Cassidy to a debate next week, and then, you know, he's gonna make him give him $7,000 to replace his jacket. And then after that, FTR signed their AEW contracts, and Arn Anderson shows up and looks over the contract for him, and I'm like, okay, like, and they're talking about enforcing tag ropes in their match and the rules being strictly enforced, and I'm like, none of this makes me want to watch you.
Yeah, and also another thing is, like, I don't remember them there used to be tag ropes. When did they get rid of the tag ropes, and why are they getting rid of tag ropes so they can do this line in their match, about their matches? Because there were tag ropes at the beginning of AEW. I don't remember them.
They did get rid of them, though.
How long ago did they get rid of them?
A while, because Jim Ross was talking about it. He did an interview recently where he said, we don't have tag ropes anymore because some of the crew thinks it's, stupid or whatever. So, I mean,
keep in mind, like, so many of them are lucha influenced because they come out of that California area. It is like, what the fuck we need tag ropes for?
Yeah.
For what? I sit in the station. I sit in the corner. What do I need them for? So yeah, like I for one, like I don't care. Like, and that's another thing with the FTR is like they come off like, unless they're wrestling, they come off like the way people like feel about like James Harden's basketball is like, oh, so you don't really want to wrestle, you just want to like be a lawyer. Cool. Like that's just not inspiring. And like right now they're not full blown heels, they're like tweener / baby faces. Probably more baby face than anything. Keep saving baby face. So it's like you just feel that like they're headed towards that path of being jackasses. So like this is just like, okay, I still don't really care about you guys until you guys wrestle in the ring. So it's like this is more of that. It's like, I don't care about whether or not you care about the tag team rules. Just get in the ring and fucking wrestle already.
Right.
Yeah, so that's why
Hangman came in there and he poured a bunch of whiskey, and then Arn, got offered a drink, and we know that can't happen.
I thought that was funny.
Yeah. So they asked Tony Khan to make August 12th a tag team appreciation night with them as the hosts. Angle alert, angle alert, angle alert.
You know what else is happening on August 12th?
No.
Like, it's going to be tag team appreciation night, but I think the main event is like Jericho versus Orange Cassidy. Not a tag team.
I mean, we'll see.
So why is it called tag team appreciation night? Like, if you're going to say, well, we're going to have like, 3 tag team matches, and then the main event is that, and it's like, so it's just like every other episode of Dynamite. It's not like, I don't get it, but cool, I guess, whatever.
Yeah, we'll see whenever they drop that whole card. After that, Brody Lee, Anna Jay, and Colt Cabana came out. So Anna Jay with the Zorro-like mask. You know what I was going to say?
R. Kelly?
The R. Kelly in like mask.
Oh my God.
But, we had the tag team title match with Kenny and Hangman against Uno and Grayson. And I was just keeping it a buck. After that Matt Cardona shit, I was like checked out of the show, so I couldn't even really pay attention to this, and it didn't seem like it lit the world on fire. And I was just like, oh, it was there. It existed.
It was good. It wasn't great. I don't even know if it was very good.
Kind of disappointing.
It was good.
Kind of disappointing. But Page and Omega, the one hit the last call. After that, Brody Lee brought Colt Cabana and Anna Jay to the back. Didn't want them to witness what was about to go down. And he basically laid out Evil Uno with a stack of papers. So James got to see the paper shot from Brody Lee. He said he noticed that the Bucks were watching from the crowd, and the Bucks like made their way to the ring. Page, Lee told Page he pissed him off by not joining them last week. Now he's going to pay. And then like the fucking Dark Order started like assembling like ants, and then FTR ran out, and all the babyfaces beat all the Dark Order geeks in a reverse of what happened that one time. Like they were kicking their ass and hitting super kicks and doing cool moves and look like a badass. That's like that's the key to wrestling.
That's half of wrestling. Yes. Yes. One thing I like to note is that given that Brody Lee is playing a Vince McMahon parody or whatever, or Vince McMahon character, the fact that FTR bashed that styrofoam cooler and fucked up that man's suit, and he's clearly a stand-in for Vince. Like I chuckled at that. I thought it was funny. Given the stories about Vince with water, given like the pool stuff, how he loves nothing more than to throw a motherfucker in the pool against their will, and then like the story that Shane had the one and only time that he threw his daddy in the pool, and that he said that like if if Vince had stayed in the pool long enough, he would have evaporated all the fucking water because he was that hot. Like, just the idea of the Vince staying there and gets boshed upside his fucking dome with the ice cold. Like, I thought it was funny. So I shout out to FTR for that one. Like, see, when they're doing stuff physically, I'm cool with them. But once it gets to like the characters for these fucking lawyers and cowards, it's not for me. I don't care. Bring the matches.
Yeah, I don't know, some man hit with them, like, I don't know what it is, but like, you know, I'm kind of into the
middle, like pick a lane, either be good guys or bad guys, and like, because like their charisma isn't there in the way where it's like, they can play down the middle. It's like, I kind of need to feel one way. I feel like this anyway. Like, you need to kind of feel one way about them one way or the other. And then you can get into the fact that like, they're not like they're bad promos. It's just like, they're not really impressing anything upon you. They're just like, okay, we want to.
It's like, you know how great we are, don't you?
Yeah. And I'm like, bro, like that was years ago. And I'm not saying you're not great no more, but it's like, you're in a fucking ring with Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, for fuck's sake. And like Jason Jordan and Gable. And like, it's cool that you had these great matches on house shows with, you know, the Usos and the New Days, but like, we didn't see none of that shit, bro. Like, you know,
yeah, like
you've had good matches at AEW, right? Like, they have matches like somewhere between like 4.5 and 4.75, but it's like, traditional 2-person tag matches, like, you have not lit the world on fire. Like, that match with Lucha Bros was a good match, maybe even a very good match. It wasn't great. It wasn't like, people thought it was going to be like some, match of the week type thing.
Classic.
It wasn't even that. So,
yeah.
Like,
yeah, I like their match with the Butcher and the Blade, more than the Lucha Bros match.
I'm trying to remember. I know that match happened, but I don't remember.
It was like that. It was a bunch of hard, rugged wrestling, like, and fighting and sweating.
Yeah, okay. I just don't remember any of it, but yeah, I remember that match did happen though. But yeah, it's just like, that's the issue with, the super long wait, because like they're trying to simmer this shit to keep it going or whatever
slow
else.
building.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm still waiting. I'm just like, God, how much more longer I have to wait? And I feel like we're going to get to the point where it's like, they're having this slow burn, and then it's going to end up being just like NXT, where it's like, just like NXT, where it's like, we know the direction they're going, but they're not going to do shit until like 3 weeks out. And then like, it'll be like, bro, why couldn't you like say some of that for like, week 7 out? Like, we've known about this for months. Like, just, why do you have to keep this shit so close to the vest?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if they're doing a 3-way tag between them or what. So
I don't know.
We got the Elite plus FTR against Dark Order next week. I am into the Hangman and FTR kind of friendship that they have, that they're kind of making woo eyes at each other. So it's weird, but
I feel like they're about to do some. I feel like they're teasing like, they're going to have a trios match between Kenny and the Young Bucks versus Hangman and FTR, like, after they have some type of split. Like, I feel like that's clearly what the tease is. And, like, like, they're going to...
I'm into that.
I hope they don't make the mistake of thinking, like, yeah, we'll turn Kenny and the Young Bucks heel on FTR and Hangman. Like, that... Look, I get the idea behind it, but that sounds...
Do you know what will happen, James?
That sounds like long-term to be a terrible idea. Because after that match...
what will happen?
Hold on. Because after that match, that means you have to be pushing FTR as the babyface tag team and the Young Bucks as the heel tag team. And it's like, I think you sell more t-shirts the other way around. I really do. I really, really, really do.
I don't know. Because, like, the Bucks aren't like that's kind of their thing. Like, as far as like, if they're heels, like, they're babyface anyway, because everyone fucking loves them. So like, it can work, but like,
but not around Hangman.
I feel like, yeah,
but not around Hangman.
Yeah. So I think the dynamics are all messed up, but like, I think the second you turn Kenny heel, like, you don't want to do that, because that's going to just overshadow whatever you're trying to do. Like, you got to keep Kenny in. It's like a boiling pot of water. I heard someone make this analogy. Kenny Omega is a boiling pot of water. Like it's just been simmering, but eventually that shit is going to just overflow and just it's going to fuck up everything. So just take it easy. Take it easy. But after that, Tony introduced Britt. She said she's going to give Big Swole a shot at her if Swole beats an opponent of her choice. It's got to be Rebel, right?
That's the first thing I thought, and I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I don't know. Like, I know she was a wrestler, but like, I don't know how extensive her wrestling was, how long ago it was. Like, was she in TNA?
Yeah, she was a knockout.
Okay. All right. I mean, I don't know. I've never seen her wrestle, but it's just like, I don't know if this person that was getting dates recently and is doing this thing and was somebody that was like, bro, what, you know what? What did they bring out Mel? What's Mel doing?
What did they bring out Abaddon?
Why would Abaddon be working with the dentist?
She's evil.
But like, I don't understand. Like, where did they meet to where they be like, like, for example, like,
backstage.
Okay, you see the Butcher and the Blade, right? And then like, MJF came to the shop and handed them an envelope, and then they showed up to attack the or whoever it was, or Cody or whatever else, right? Like, where does the handoff happen between Britt and Abaddon, and why does Abaddon, given the way she looked, even care about such a trivial social, what's the word? Care about such a thing as money. What is money to Abaddon? Ain't she a monster?
Hey, so maybe it ain't money. Maybe Dr. Britt Baker has offered her, some free dental care, she's able to treat like the undead who have like a different kind of, mouth situation going on. She wants, the undeadness to be kind of fly, to be able to, at least she can smile, I'm
sorry. Once you said mouth situation, I was done. Okay, so let me a mouth situation. Okay, so all right. Okay, I figured out what I was trying to say. Social construct. So here's another one, right? Another social construct. Yeah. Nice teeth. Why would is she a zombie, or is she just looks like a zombie?
She is a living dead girl.
Okay, she's a zombie. Why would a zombie?
That's what she's described as.
Okay, so why would a zombie care about the superficiality of nice teeth when she is one dead? Isn't she only concerned about brains?
So I guess she figures with the nicer teeth, they are stronger teeth and they can bite through, flesh a little bit easier, or necks or brains or whatever she is choosing to attack at that time.
Aren't you glad we don't talk about the main roster? Don't it sound like we're talking about the main roster right now?
Bro, I bring Abaddon up to say this. We need to throw her in the swamp with Bray Wyatt and lock the swamp. Yes, I'm saying put a lock on a body of water.
Like put a tarp over
or
it?
A cover on top and never let her come back.
Yes. Like it's an above ground pool?
Yes, just put them underneath it and just let them, rule that place, because this Abaddon shit, like the entrance was cool. The swerve with Anna Jay was cool, right? I watched her wrestle a couple more times after that, and then seeing the wacky presentation of the zombie person, I'm like, I don't want to watch this shit. Like, I just want someone to get in there and fucking fight, like, right. and be like either athletic or like or wrestle or like, be a bad person or a good person. It's just like, you're a fucking undead person. Like, fuck you. Like, I don't take this Undertaker shit up the road. Like, I'm good, man. So, this was more of the show I was just hating. Like,
I can't believe we're still talking about this episode of Dynamite. Jesus. Go ahead.
Yeah, and it's about to get like even crazier. So, Diamante cut a pre-tape promo. It was nice of them to let us know who she was. She said that she's worked on the indies for 10 years and she's trying to get signed, and a win over the champion would get her a contract. She didn't have to worry about that. She said she was willing to give her last breath in the match, and then all of a sudden they ran down the rules for the Deadly Draw Women's Tag Team Tournament, which is essentially Battle Bowl. So it's going to begin at 7 p.m. on the AEW YouTube channel, and they said more rules will be announced later tonight. We might as well just get to it now. So they drew by color. So some of the teams that people that are revealed to be involved, there's Anna Jay and Tainara Kanchi from NXT. They are a team. I believe Allie and Brandy happened to draw the same color.
What a coincidence.
They had, yeah. And then, I believe there is, then we got Nyla Rose, drew one color, and her partner came out of nowhere. Cameron, or the former Cameron, who goes by her real name, Ariane Andrew. When I saw her on the screen, I was like, oh my God. All right, what is this? And apparently I don't know how true this is. I hear her and Brandy Rhodes are very good friends. And,
Yeesh.
You start thinking about the Zack Ryder, and then it's just like, if you know anything about their personalities, they seem like they might be friends with Ariane and Brandy. But nevertheless,
there's one thing
I saw Ariane.
There's one thing I've heard about Ariane. Is it Ariane or Ariane?
Not sure.
Okay, I'm gonna say Ariane because Ariane, that's a little too, but Ariane. So there's one thing I recall her saying, and then once you put that next to she is possibly friends with Brandy, it makes me you already know what I'm going and thinking. I'm just like, oh God.
Yeah.
Look.
How far down the?
I don't really care about. It's just another thing that makes you roll your eyes, but ultimately, it's like, how good is she? How good is she going to be in this thing? And by all accounts, she hasn't wrestled since she got let go or she stopped working at WWE. So it's like she wasn't good. She was a bad wrestler when she was wrestling, and now she hasn't wrestled in matches in front of people in 4 years. I don't know if you get better at pro wrestling by not wrestling, so we'll see.
I'm like, how many people did we skip over before we got to Ariane Andrew?
I mean,
if she's coming in to just eat some pins for Nyla Rose, I get it, right? But how far do you have to go before you get to her?
I mean, travel ban that restricts you, but I feel like you can find a lot. You can find a lot more people before you get to her. I just do. But we'll see. We'll see where this goes.
From what I'm gathering, right, she has a large following in the LGBTQ community. She was booked for Effie's event over WrestleMania weekend, so she was training to come back. There are a couple of videos. Yeah, there are a couple of videos where she's doing some different high spots. To me, that tells me nothing.
Yeah, because they were doing
about
the same,
your actual pro wrestling ability.
Right. Remember when Brian Kendrick was working with what's her name? The red hair,
Eva Marie,
everything. Eva Marie, and they was doing them high spots together, and that don't mean shit. They just don't.
Yeah. And even the stuff I was saying from Eva Marie, she was taking bumps in it. Ariane was just doing a little twist around DDTs and stuff like that. It's okay, you'll have your 2 spots and then you'll look totally lost out there otherwise. Now if Ariane Andrew is we're doing that level here, people got really upset that this would be on YouTube rather than on the real show. I'm going to take an unpopular stance, possibly, by saying I'm glad it's on YouTube. because these shits would be channel changers if we're running Arion Andrew out here to team up with Nyla Rose and the fucking Nightmare Sisters. Like, I'm sorry, I'm changing the channel. Put it if people want to watch it so bad. I believe this is Floyd may have said this. Show them how much you want to watch this. They're gonna have it on YouTube, which everyone has. You know, on your phone, everyone can see it. So if you want to see this tournament and by proxy the women of AEW get more, show up for them.
Yeah, I never really thought about the YouTube thing until I heard about it last night or today. I have
because can we call this what it really is?
I have zero interest in.
This looks like
it's a vanity project for Brandy.
It's well, I wasn't going to go there. I was going to say this looks like just a scouting tool. Like, so they're just going to bring a bunch of people in, team them up, and see what they have, and have a reason for them all to get in the ring. Now, a Brandy Rose vanity project. If you want to take off on that, go ahead.
No, that's all I really had to say. I think the thing for me is like, okay, it does matter to see someone or see people in person to evaluate their in-ring ability. And obviously, you know, depending on how far people go, you get to see them more. But seeing that like most of the people we're going to bring in have multiple matches, wouldn't it also be more valuable to have seen them before you bring them in? Like, I just, you know, well, I don't know if they have with these people, but it's like, once you bring her in, I'm thinking just like, well, shit, I don't know how much.
Literally anybody can show up now.
Right. It's like, I mean, there are, believe it or not, there are still talented women, American women, out there to look into. Like, there's still Zoe Sky / Dust. There's still Samantha Heights. Like, it's just, I just don't, I don't know, man. It's just like, you know, you hear about the NWA wrestlers and they, you know, they can seek opportunities. Like, okay, well then why don't you bring in Thunder Rosa and Allison Kay, if someone that I don't even like particularly love like that. It's like, they're better than her, flat out. So,
Yeah, this might be a this is a spot. Even like the amount of awesome matches that there's been for the women's division this year, like you can rattle off a list. I think, I'd be willing to say with AEW, you see this thing,
Riho,
what? Sheeta and Riho and everybody pretty much orbiting around them.
I feel like the only good matches in AEW Women's Division this year come from either have Sheeta in them or Riho in them. Am I missing anybody? Is there any match that doesn't have either one of them in there?
I thought Chris Statlander and Penelope Ford was pretty good.
Was that on Dynamite?
What else?
Or was that on Dark?
No, it was on pay-per-view. That was on Double or Nothing.
The last pay-per-view?
Yeah, that was on Double or Nothing.
I'd have to go back and look at it.
It was like a last-minute match because they substituted Britt Baker out because of the knee injury. And then, you know, Penelope Ford and Hikaru Shida and Britt Baker. Four-way on the, Riho and Nyla in the title change match.
Yep.
The four-way on the first. I believe they did another four-way that was pretty good. I believe it was in Daly's place. But yeah, like this is a thing that is going to get a lot of, like we're going to see like whatever the fuck this is, cause we're going to get our next chapter on like what the fuck is happening here. And it's whatever they want to do with it. then I'll be ready on the other side because I'm not anticipating some, thing that's going to turn this whole thing around because like they've been decimated by COVID and injury. And it's like,
yeah,
people don't seem to care about either of those facts, but figure it out.
I care, but I was also another thing was like, I also like, while I am giving you guys some grace for, not some, I'll give you grace for the fact that like you can't bring in, some of your most talented women, and then also some of your more women that you were trying to push that are also some of your more talented women also got hurt. Like, I also don't want to see most of your women's matches no more. Given your situation, like, and it sucks. It's like, why? At this point, it's like, unless, like, what's the best match they could do right now? Would it just be the rematch, the title rematch?
Yes.
Yeah, like, I don't even know if there's anything I don't know if there's anything I also would like really want to see besides that right now out of the women's division right now. And granted, like, you would have to tell me about what they got on the what they have also on Dark, but like,
I mean, if they wanted to turn Kylan King into somebody, they could, like, quickly. As far as like anyone else, like Kenzie Page is like, she's like Jungle Girl, essentially, like just a young girl. But
Anna
if I were
Jay's
them,
doing
I would
this Dark Order thing.
So they must feel that she's not ready. If I were them, I would get Kylan King's name on, paper and start figuring it out and just let her start working.
Wasn't Kylan King, wasn't she and another woman squashed by Nyla Rose recently?
Yeah.
Oh God. Well, I don't know what you do. I don't know what you do from there. Oh, we put her on TV on her first night and get fucking squashed. All right. I mean, we're more forgiving than we were in the 80s, but damn, I don't think that was wise. Because Kylan King's tall, isn't she?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, she's like 5'9", something like that. So, MJF, state of the industry address. So, he is basically walking to the ring, handed out some MJF 2020 campaign posters. He has a red tie on. Dead giveaway.
Red tie.
Then he has like a
red tie, white shirt, bright blue suit. Or not bright blue suit, but like lighter than navy.
Yep. So he said wrestling fans are dumb, but he's been given ample time tonight to force feed the audience like you guys would feed a kid macaroni and cheese. He said Moxley is not his champion and repeatedly called him Dictator John. He said AEW was supposed to be about change and opportunity, but with Moxley on top, it's more the old guard. MJF then made like tons of inside references, and he talks about how he's a bigger minute by minute ratings draw than John Moxley, which is hilarious because no one can actually know if that's true or not.
But we know it's
his
not
delivery
true.
is so like his delivery is so great. It's like you might like either just get angry or buy it. One of those two.
I rolled my eyes.
And he said like Moxley, he's brainwashed the friends and expecting flips and dives. He said Moxley, is cosplaying as Austin. It was funny because when he was cutting a promo, like I thought he was going towards Cody, but then it went to Moxley. But I thought his delivery was just so great. I liked the promo overall. He said Moxley it was the first thing that woke me up from the malaise of Zack Ryder being there. He challenged him for the belt and said he's going to carry this company for the next 25 years. And you start thinking about his age. I'm like, wow. Like Jericho's 49 and 25 years ago, he was MJF's age. Like, and I thought, I thought it was a good promo. I was into this.
I thought that this was a guy that has all the poise and mind control in the world, and there's more of that on display through all the times he's done long promos in front of an AEW live audience or live crowd or whatever the hell you want to call this. And I thought that like all of that's on point, but what he is saying is fucking nonsense, and I do not care. Like for you to say that like Moxley, since he became president, now has all these fuckers doing flips, and it's like, whoa, what? And then also, like, in this time, for you to dress like Donald Trump, then make a parallel joke about birtherism with Obama. I don't care, bro. I just don't. And then, like, I think it was you that sent me this about how, like, tons of people turn that shit off. And I'm just like, well, you're going through all this going on in real life, and then you have this guy dress up like Trump and do a joke parody version of a Trump speech, while, like, there are 150,000 people dead right now, and the number's still increasing. I see why people turn the shit off. It doesn't matter how well he delivered these lines. No one wants to see those parallels. Like, that dude is like, bro, Georgia in polls right now, the state of Georgia, Biden has a lead in right now. That's how bad this shit is right now. He's poison. Like, do not put that shit on your TV with the Trump joke shit. Like, get it away. It is poison. It's toxic. Keep it away. Like, go out there and also, well, that's not his fault. But, like, so I'm not even gonna say what I was about to say. But yeah, just like cut. Do something else. This is the wrong time and place for those kind of parallels and jokes. Like, and it didn't even make no damn sense. You talking about a dude is like the high flying John Moxley? What? Like, that man left WWE and does less flying. When's the last time you seen him do a tope?
Yeah, like, been a minute.
Right.
Been a minute. Now, as you think about it, like, maybe in one of the matches against Joey Janela, maybe. I can't remember.
Maybe he had one against Brody Lee that I just don't remember. My point is, like, that
yes,
he did
do one with Brody Lee.
Okay. So, like, the thing's just like, nah, bro. Like, wrong time, wrong place. Maybe that works. Maybe 2016, not 2020. Not with all this shit going on. No, like, nah, bro. This ain't it. And it, apparently, like, a bunch of other people felt the same way. It just wasn't for me. This wasn't for me. Like, he tried his best or whatever else with the material he came up with, whatever. The material sucked. All the other stuff in the presentation around it just sucked. Like, I don't give a fuck about the Donald Trump shit. Just don't.
Then, we got the matches announced for next week. So it's Cody and Matt Cardona against Reynolds and Silver. Very interesting that Matt Cardona's gear, that he's taking all these promo pictures and look like Dark Order colors. We've got FTR and the Young Bucks and Paige and Omega against Brody Lee, Cabana, Grayson, and Uno. And 5 and 10, Jericho and Orange Cassidy debate with a special guest moderator. There is a big rumor out there, which you guys can go find. I will not ruin it for you. But there was also Santana and Ortiz against Best Friends announced on Twitter today. After that, we then got to the part of the show that, or starting with the MJF that I liked, the rest of this show. Ricky Starks cuts a fucking awesome promo. And it's just like all the poise, all the confidence, and just like all the swag. Like, I just remember a week ago, this man was wearing backless shoes, and, I loved it. And, very much the Ricky and Clive show, energy here. So,
Ricky does wear those asshole shoes. Yeah, he does. He does.
What up, Rick? So Darby Allin got introduced, but his music played, but he didn't enter. But then Moxley came out. Taz cut a promo backstage and said, Ricky Starks beat up Darby Allin so bad that he couldn't show up tonight. Taz then bragged about Cage's delts and his traps and his biceps.
Look at fucking hell. Like, Taz is ridiculous. Look at the delts.
So,
look at his traps. He's like, dude, I think he said the traps were as big as mountains or something like that.
Yeah. Then Ricky Starks cut his own promo. All that was great.
Yeah.
And then those guys came out, and all of a sudden, Who's that jumping out the sky?
Oh my god.
D-A-R-B-Y. Hit someone with a fucking coffin drop from the top of the entrance set. They just fell out of thin air. Dude. And then Allen and Starks paired off, and Moxley and Cage paired off before the bell.
That was awesome. Like, the second it happened, I went to the thread and I said, someone find me that gif now of him just tight shot on these two turning around, and all of a sudden a body just falls from the sky. It was almost as if, like, imagine if, like, one of those nights, like, all of a sudden Sting and WCW had, like, just repelled upon all them dudes. It was just like that, except, like, no breaks at all. It's just
yeah.
He's out of his mind. He's 2 weeks removed from a concussion. He's out of his mind.
Yep. Darby, don't give a damn Allen. So, these guys had a tornado tag match. Really good brawl here. And till the very end, we'll skip to that. We're probably running a little long on time, but Darby Allin pulled out a tack covered skateboard from underneath the ring.
No
so
trunks.
Word around the lexicon or whatever the hell. Ricky Starks felt really bad for concussing Darby Allin a couple weeks ago and said he's going to make it up to Darby. He was telling people that. So Darby Allin fucking ollie or fucking gives this man an ollie and like fucking the 50-50 grind across this man's back with the tack cover skateboard. It hit the double stomp with the tack board on Ricky Starks. Starks immediately was bleeding everywhere. This looked like way worse than the Cody taking the bump in the thumbtacks from his match against Eddie Kingston.
Oh, you mean like when Cody took this tax the week before in the opener? Now do people understand why we say like they do blood too much and like Cody needs to stop because now you're going to numb people up to this shit?
He's stepping on like the other people. It's like, did he know they were going to do this match a couple weeks ago? Why is Cody doing people's gimmicks a couple weeks before they do them? He pulls in with the truck before FTR. He bleeds before Orange Cassidy bleeds. He does the fucking tax before Darby can do the fucking tax here. What's going on here? And
now it's like, okay, so what's that? The third time we've done tags on AEW television or pay-per-view in the last 8 months, 9 months. It's like, do you really need to do tags that often? Do we really need to see blood? Like, bro, there's blood on like every single episode now. It used to be like every other episode. Now there's blood on literally every episode. Every episode. Like, and I don't mean like it happened on accident. I mean planned blood. Like, you ask for thumbtacks, you're gonna bleed. Like granted, like we've seen some like, I guess ruptured eardrums or people bleeding out their ears really weird, like Orange Cassidy or Luchasaurus. Yeah. But like there have been like planned blood like 3 times, like 3 out of every 4 shows now. They need to be reined in. They just need to.
I don't even notice it anymore. I barely notice it anymore.
Yeah, special ed is now. Oh, he's bleeding. Oh, so it's just a Wednesday. Gotcha. Great. Fantastic. I like the match though.
They ended up getting the pin on. Yeah, I like the match too. They got the pin on Ricky Starks while Mox had Cage in the armbar. After that, Darby then pointed at Mox and said he wants the belt. Then there seemed to be some controversy that broke out. Why is Darby Allin challenging for the title? He's only number 5. On the radio. I'm like, I feel like I've talked about it on the show. You guys are smart people that listen to this show. I would assume that you are smart if you listen to One Nation Radio. Like, if you are not smart, like, unfortunately, we have to educate you, but like, there's not a ranking system in the world that forces you to fight the number 1 contender at all times. Like, you don't have to be the number 1 contender to get a shot at the belt. Like, it's a ranking system. So, like, you fight the 3rd guy. You can fight the 5th guy. You can fight the 1st guy even. But, like, obviously, this is pro wrestling, and there's, like, storytelling elements for it. They usually do the number 1 contender at the pay-per-view. So, like, he's not going to be the number 1 contender. So, that's it's a TV match. You have to allow yourself to kind of receive what they're trying to give you here. Like
you're really explaining this in a way that you don't have to. In real fucking competitive sports, you don't have to be top 5 to get it. You don't have to be number 1 to be the number 1 contender or to get a title shot or whatever else. Like, so if you're in the top 5, good enough. Is the match interesting? Will it draw? Okay, bring the match. No one gives a fuck about the rest of that stuff. Like, so whatever. Like, if y'all are upset about that,
I feel like it's a bunch of.
But those are people that are operating under bad faith. So I'm not really trying to extend. I'm not really trying to spend my time on them. It's just like real sports. It's trying to be close to real sports by doing this. Take it up with real sports, not the fake TV show that's emulating the real sport. Take it up with real sports. So moving on from there. Why are they doing this?
Everyone's trying to go, gotcha. Like,
yeah, I get you. And like, nah, you ain't get shit. Like. But like, why are they doing this match? Outside of that part, like, I have no problem with somebody's number that's ranked in the top 5 getting a title shot. But my problem is, why are they doing this match?
This
particular match. Why are they doing this particular match? So, Darby and Moxley, when Moxley's already beat Darby in like January or February of this year. They've done the tag stuff, and Darby has done nothing but he lost to Cody. And when they're in, that was a Georgia show, wasn't it?
He lost to Cody in Georgia. Yes.
Yeah, lost to Cody in Georgia because he's a dumbass that apparently is a former world champion to a tilt. He couldn't, he just couldn't lift himself up, even though he was on top of Cody. Whatever. You have the whole thing play out where he's big time, and Taz was pissed off Taz and makes him unleash the machine. So then he shelves him. Machine shelves him in that ladder match, and it's like they're destined to have a match between Darby and Cage. And like, I ain't beating Darby in 2020 with Brian. I'm not beating Brian Cage 2020 with Darby. Not happening this year. So after he lost to another big homie, or big time heavyweight dude, he next time he actually has this match confrontation with Cage, he's gonna lose to a big time heavyweight dude, and now you're gonna set him up to lose again to another big weight heavyweight dude. Why are they doing this? Best case scenario,
if you want to have issues,
best case scenario is a draw.
Yeah, that would be what I would book, right? But like, if you want to take issue with the ranking system, where you take issue with it, it's kind of like how when Bomani said, like, y'all think about the NFL not starting. It ain't the NFL that you need to be worried about. It's fucking college. Like, kind of like, it's not like, you shouldn't be mad the number 5 person is getting a shot, right? You should be wondering who the fuck the number 5 person is. Like, when you start going through the records and shit like that, I know it's not strictly based on like the numbers on the records, right? Mm-hmm. But if you want to like be absent of context and just lay the records down next to each other, it's like Sean Spears has been better. Kip Sabian's been better. Scorpio Sky's been better. Like, all of them guys could have been ranked number 5 and been in there and got this or whatever, right? So I think they're trying to do a match that can, pop a number. Darby's been in the main event before, like getting a title match a couple times. And I guess, if they figure if he's in there with a top guy, and I hate this logic, if he's in there with a top guy, then he's a top guy. Like, it doesn't always work like that, because that takes like special ability from whoever said a top guy is to make, that person look like they are on the level. I'm not saying Jon Moxley can't do this, right?
Right.
But,
and he did do that with Darby the first match they had at the beginning of the year.
Right. Like, I'm not saying that they can't do this, right? Mm-hmm. But Darby taking another loss, and I know the thing with Darby, this is how it wasn't involved. You fucking beat him. You beat him like a drum until you can't beat him no more. And then he finally gets his, crowning victory. And I am still convinced he will one day be the AEW champion, right? Mm-hmm. But the timing of this feels like, it just feels really rushed.
It's like, back.
Well, yeah. It feels rushed, but I figure they beat him here so they can send him back down the rankings, because if he wins, then you got to keep putting, or not even if he wins, even if he draws, which that's what I would do, then you have to keep him where he is. So I think some of this stuff is like, you got to beat somebody to take them out the rankings, essentially. So they can cycle someone else in to do whatever. But
I'm going to say,
I don't know.
I'm going to say the same thing that I said earlier in the show about this Tam Nakano and Julia thing, right? I don't like the idea of you booking a match and your fan base comes away thinking like the best case scenario given what this company does, and also for the sake of both competitors involved is a draw. Like, you never want to go, you don't want to go into it like that. So, like, that's the best.
They have not abused us with the draws, though. They've only done one this year, and ironically, it was, I think it was with Pac and Mox. No, it wasn't this year.
No, that was the end of last.
I think that was still last year.
Yeah, that was last year. That went.
So it's been a while since they've done one.
Draw. Yeah, I just think you shouldn't be beating Darby coming right back. Like, this is a situation where like he because it's like, is this match, and then or you quote unquote know what's ahead of him once he gets to the cage match too. Or sorry, the Brian Cage match, not a match in a cage. But so it's just like, okay, so now we're just scheduling these shits in now. Okay. And he just came back after being off, and like, I don't know if that was a legitimate injury time away, or if it was just like that was something that he created to tell a story of, you hurt this dude and now he's coming back and he's gonna be, on the warpath. And it's like, he got concussed. Fuck. And then he's like, all right, now he's gonna go out here and do two jobs are just sitting there on the horizon. It's like, I just don't like the idea of like, hopefully we can like make this better for this dude's like long-term outlook by giving him draws. Like, just like, somebody got to win.
I think he'll get a win. He'll get a win over Ricky Starks before he fights Cage, I imagine.
I hope.
Yeah.
And that's a good match. I want to see that match, by the way.
Yeah, but this was not this show, like, after the Zack Ryder thing just kind of sent me into a malaise I didn't wake up from until like the last half hour. I was blowing up the group chats with negativity. I was just pissed, flat out. Like the cronyism, I was on Twitter going off about it, and if you guys want to, check that out, you can. But it was just a night where it was like, man, sometimes like I don't know what it is, like, because for me, this is the best promotion going, right? But then the things they do wrong, I get so much more mad because I'm like, you're fucking better than this. Like, or at least I think you are. Like, the standard that you set, it seems like, if there's a step in the wrong direction, it's like, I feel like it could all go awry. And I don't want it to. Uh-huh. So that's...
Yeah. Yeah, I just, another thing to mention as far as like the end of the show. So, Darby gets announced for this match next week for the title match. Meanwhile, like, you run into the same issue, that we were talking about, I think we talked about it early in the show with WWE main roster on Raw, where it's like, okay, Randy Orton calls out McIntyre for SummerSlam, but he's about to go wrestle Dolph Ziggler on this very same show. Like, we know it's a sport, and that eventually could mean that, like, Ziggler could win, and it could be Ziggler versus Randy Orton. However, we're not fucking idiots. We've watched enough wrestling to know what that means. Like, you undercut your match, and that's why they edited out that Ziggler versus McIntyre this week was a title match. They basically got rid of that because they realized, like, oh yeah, we made this mistake to telegraph what the finish of this match is going to be, and we basically eliminated the intrigue behind a title match or whatever else. So, they have MJF say he wants Moxley next, and then that's like, that is, anybody with a brain knows, okay, so that's the all out match, more than likely, right? And then he's like, right, okay, well, here's this Darby match. It's like, bro, 20 minutes later, you haven't called this dude out for a future match, and 20 minutes later, you put in Darby, for a match. It's like a match he's going to lose that you already figure he's going to lose before you even throw in like what just happened 20 minutes before with the MJF thing. And it's like, damn, bro, like, I don't know why y'all would do this. Why couldn't y'all just wait a week with the MJF thing? Or better yet, I in my mind I was like, snarky, like, better yet, why don't you just not do the MJF thing at all with the Trump shit? But whatever. Like, there was no pressing need for the MJF thing to be shot this week. Could have waited a week. Could have.
Yeah, it could have been next week. Yeah, for sure. Because if it's one thing I believe in is like feeling like anything can happen. Like that's why the Anna Jay and Abaddon thing I think worked so well because it was like subverted. Like, and I'm not saying like, you know, a shot to world title like win. Like I don't think that's the best thing for the company either. Right. So it's like try to protect the match as much as possible. Maybe, you know, because even if you want to say, well, you know, like, cause my thinking is like, okay, I mean, they normally have, you know, the champion defend the belt on TV between the cycles, like a kind of a regular thing. But I could easily see someone like saying, well, yeah, you already like, I mean, I feel like you already know Moxley's still going to be the champion either way. So
right,
to me, it's like, if you want to make it an issue, you can, but whatever. I feel like, you know, Zack Ryder showing up as like Cody's third best friend is a more pressing issue.
What time is it? Oh, 2 hours and 17 minutes is this thing? Oh, God. Long story short, NXT was a better show than Dynamite was this week. I suggest you check out Gargano versus Roderick Strong. The match was great. Another great match was Jake Atlas versus Swerve. Swerve got the win. He is gearing up for his match against Santos Escobar. I almost called him Pablo Escobar. Getting back to the Johnny and
well, we know what it is.
Yeah, right. Getting back to the Johnny and Roger Strong match. Great match. I want to see more of them together, but I don't know if it's going to happen. Undisputed came back, like they showed the McAfee stuff, and then like Adam Cole comes on TV, and then like they talk about like, you know, they don't even mention that shit. They just like they showed it, and then like, oh yeah, they're back, and then like the real thing is that like O'Reilly came back. He cut this fiery promo talking about like, bro, we have not lost touch. We're still the bullies on this block. Let's go run this show again. They after Bartel and Eichner squash Everrise, so Everrise has 2 back-to-back appearances on NXT. They Undisputed comes out and whoops their ass. I don't know where that's leading to. Well, actually, I do know where it's leading to. We're going to have it. I believe it's the NXT tag team title match between Eichner and Bartel and O'Reilly and Fish. And I'm like, all right, enough fucking title matches for O'Reilly and Fish. We fucking get it. Like that. Like, if I don't think they're going to win, but if they were to win, that means they'd be the 3-time tag champs. Those two. Enough.
Yikes.
Enough. So Keith Lee and Keith Lee came out and cut the I'm going to like, how do I say this? He laid this out like, you want to come out here and play these fucking games talking about your Mr. TikTok. Meanwhile, you hand people a hourglass with sand in it that makes no fucking sense. You've done all this nonsensical garbage as opposed to manning up and telling me what you want. So I'm going to do something you can't do. Name the time, name the place, whatever you want to do, let's do this. Out comes Cameron Grimes. Remember Cameron Grimes before we even had the Cole and Lee match?
The number one contender.
Proclaimed himself to be the number one contender because he is a shithead. Comes out and talks all this noise. We get the camera shot where we see Keith Lee's face looking like he is ready to murder him with his mind, as he comes out there hot dogging, and he's like, Keith Lee, why don't you pay attention to me? Pay attention to me. You don't hear me talking to you? Keith Lee turns around, flashes, snatches him by the neck, brings him over the top rope, throws him to the corner. Out comes Scarlett. Scarlett gestures towards the Titantron. Cross says to Keith Lee, now that I have your attention, I want to let you know that this can go one of two ways, the easy way or the hard way, and you don't even want to know what the hard way is. I thought that he was inferring about Mia.
So is he doing the Luthez gimmick?
You stupid. He gonna shoot? Maybe. But I think that was an inference on Mia, but they didn't go to it yet. Now we're supposed to stay tuned to see what this could possibly mean. However, Keith Lee said, as this is happening, after that video cuts out, this dumbass Grimes tries to attack Keith Lee. Keith Lee grabs him, actually catches him during the mid-run and lifts him high in the sky. He could almost touch the arena center Titantron thing that, where you see the scores of games, whatever else. You see graphics at the top. He can almost touch the roof of the building, and he brings him down with the spirit bomb. And then Keith Lee says, he's done with the bullshit or whatever else. And I thought it was a great whole segment of letting you know, like, the baby face Keith Lee that, they pushed him as to be like the John Cena, Rock, Roman Reigns, MC person. Like, that is an element of Keith Lee, but there is also pissed off Keith Lee, and pissed off Keith Lee is dangerous. You want no smoke with that fucking guy. So I loved it. Trying to think of other things that happened. Mercedes Martinez came out in a squash match where she was on the defense for most of the match against Shotzi, puts her away with a choke. There was, at the beginning of the show, this one, check this out. So, the week before, Dakota Kai called out Io because for weeks she's wanted a title shot. Tegan got a title shot 2 weeks ago. Io put her away, beat her clean, and as Io's walking up the ramp, in comes Dakota with the black Air Forces and booted Io in the face. So last week she did a video package saying, I'm going to see you next week, and once you get the taste back into your mouth that I booted out of it, bring the NXT Women's title with you. So this week, first person that comes out was Io to the ring. You think, oh, there's a match. All of a sudden, Dakota comes from behind her and hits her and attacks her and starts fighting. Then all of a sudden, Tegan comes out. Then Candice comes out. So all of a sudden, basically without Teddy Long showing up and saying tag match players, next thing you know, it's a tag match. They have a tag match. It's a good match. Io was great in it. At the end, they pulled the Drew McIntyre Rich, where Dakota she reads the tea leave, realized like we're about to lose. Tags in Candice, goes up the ramp. Candice ends up in the ring. Io whoops her, hits her with a moonsault, lands on her head, landed on her head with the moonsault. And I don't mean like the normal moonsault, I mean like the vicious, Muda, hard, straight line down as opposed to, the up and down, just a straight line down, moonsault on Candice. So I don't know, what happened here, but clearly things have changed, and is one of those changes where it's like, if this was still a taped show that taped 3 to 4 episodes in one whop, there wouldn't have been no weird change. What was said about we were going to have some confrontation or match would have happened as opposed to whatever the fuck this was. But it was a good match. Mm-hmm. So also later in the show, Dakota still proclaims herself the number one contender, even though she still has the issue of her never beating anybody. And in comes Rhea Rhea says, like, get out my way, you puny pest. And then Dakota
no one
basically
would ever
said,
talk like that.
No, she didn't actually say it. She didn't actually say it. I'm just
Oh,
saying.
okay.
Like, she big time.
Hey,
like,
man, that WWE verbiage.
you
never know.
Good point.
You're
But no, she didn't say that. Yeah, she basically, yeah, I could definitely hear that. But yeah, she basically said, like, get out my way, like, Io's mine, and then she basically, like, was about to cower it out, and then said, well, we'll see what Regal has to say about that. So, next week is Rhea versus, Dakota Kai for number 1 contendership match.
Rhea Ripley. All blonde.
Yeah. But there's one thing you need to pay attention to, right? Over the last 3 weeks. Yeah, last 3 weeks, there has been no sight of Raquel Gonzalez. So you know what that means. She's going to materialize out of nowhere and cost Rhea Ripley more than anything, or more than likely. Like, oh, you forgot about my friend that, like, has just not been around. Well, she's still with me, and you've been fucked. So so now Rhea, now that you've been fucked, go fight your friend Raquel, your real life friend, in a television program. I can see it from a mile away. I don't want to see Rhea Ripley have to carry Raquel Gonzalez. I don't. I want to see Io Shirai versus Rhea Ripley. Doesn't everyone else?
I mean, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
like,
the options is Dakota Kai versus Rhea.
This still feels like it got Charlotte residue on it.
Well, as far as Rhea, yeah.
So it's like, I'd rather see Dakota Kai and Io.
I mean, the match, look, I don't mean to say it like, as if, like, Dakota Kai's not very good, because she is very good. It's just, you spent, like, 2 years telling me she's a fucking geek. So why do I want to see her challenge for a title?
At least, like, at least it's like something where we can clearly cheer for Io, and not like, Io and Rhea, where it's like, well, what the fuck is Rhea Ripley like, and what the fuck is Io like? Nah, man, like they gotta go away. They gotta stay away for a while until they get more defined or whatever. Like, so it was funny. I saw Rhea Ripley with that hair, and she was like, I figured what happened to me at WrestleMania will never happen again.
You dumb. Okay, I'm trying to think of anything else. Oh yeah, the fucking main event.
Oh yes, there was something else. I've been waiting.
Let me look through here to make sure, because I'm doing it off the top of my head. Let me make sure I'm not forgetting anything.
The main event.
I'm saying there might be other stuff to talk about. Just give me a second. I might have to go through this. All right.
Gotcha.
Talk about the women's title match. Talked about Gargano and Strong being a great match. Talked about Mercedes Martinez squash somebody after taking most of the offense as a heel. Talked about Ever-Rise and Undisputed. Talked about Swerve and Atlas. Oh, yes, Damian Priest. There was a Ridge Holland, the former Dan Matha promo or vignette. He's going to be in a qualifying.
The former Luke Menzies.
That was Luke Menzies. Okay, yeah, okay. Sorry, you're right. Former Luke Menzies. So next week he shows up. He still has I think it's a shillelagh is what they call it. He's showing up and he's facing in the qualifier, triple threat qualifier against Damian Priest and Oney Lorcan. Yep. So think about like that mismatch of talent. Like Priest and Lorcan, I want to see one of those matches, but like I remember watching Holland before, and I was like, oh, he's there. So you have that, and then you get to Dexter Lumis versus Timothy Thatcher versus Finn Balor in a triple threat match to qualify for the North American title ladder match. Oh man. I feel like they are doing a concessions with Lumis so far to where he sells more now. They've done this thing where he's a tortured artist instead of a serial killer. Whatever. I don't care. he did this flip thing that made, like, Alvarez, like, flip a shit, saying that, like, oh, that was clearly fake, when I'm like, okay, but, like, I saw him do that on NXT, like, in the summer of last year. He can do it, actually. Whatever. In front of a live audience. So, Balor and Thatcher, when they were in the ring together, it was good. My problem is, you get to the end of the match, and after Thatcher has done all this work to ward one guy off as he gets to work over Balor's leg, he gets to the point where he actually slaps on the ankle lock, and he grapevines the leg, and Balor is trying to crawl, but he seems to be fucked. He's done. And then, from behind, comes doing the arm crawl, slither in thing that he does. Our favorite residential badass got choked out and passed out by Dexter fucking Lumis. And he is now going to fight for the North American title in a ladder match. So far the two entries we have are two breakout tournament guys from last year, Dexter Lumis and Bronson Reed. Two guys that, well, one guy that we clearly know is talented, but is like now getting his run after being around for a full year. Another guy that has been on TV week after week after week for like since like February, and is not getting over, and is doing nothing but doing the opposite of getting over. Like, they show him on TV, they give him more spots, they give him wins, and all he does is, like, kill the rating. People don't want to watch that shit. People don't understand the character. I think, I don't know this, but I feel like if he were just a regular guy and he got to wrestle his match, he seems like he could have good matches. The problem is, I don't give a damn how good you are. Doing this gimmick is death in 2020 on a no BS promotion. No one wants to see
Dexter
no one.
Lumis.
No one tuned into NXT to watch fucking Dexter Lumis. Do that shit.
Defeating the tough white man, Timothy Thatcher's Thatch Can Shooter Thatcher by submission is one of the worst booking decisions of 2020.
Yes.
How the fuck do you have this man do weeks and weeks and weeks of vignettes, having him showing submission holds? How do you have him do multiple matches with the Oni Lorcan, beating the fuck out of each other and submitting him? How do you have him write off Matt fucking Riddle in the fight pit?
Right.
And then Dexter Lumis submits him.
Right.
This was flat. We have a spoiler rule in our group chats. This was so bad that I broke the rule and was like, they had Dexter Lumis submit who? What? And then at that point I was like, wrestling is fucking like horrible this week. Like what the fuck is going on? Who booked this? This is horrible. Like, I would never do this.
Okay, so I didn't see the spoiler you put in there, luckily, I guess, but like because Imp hit me up, asked me to come on the show, I got a copy of NXT. I procured an episode of NXT and I watched it the next day, like in the afternoon or whatever else. Or in the evening, and I was like, watching, I was like, what? Like, if your idea is, well, we don't want Finn Balor or Thatch to actually be in this match, then don't book them in the fucking qualifier. Like,
right.
Like,
there's an easy way around this. Put Maso Ciampa in this shit.
Like, if your idea is, well, we want them to be on TV, but we don't want them to be in this ladder match, then I suggest, like, I don't know what to tell you, bro, but like, this ain't it. Like, it was just dumb. It was just flat out dumb. And I don't mean it was dumb as if like it's impossible to imagine like, you know, Lumis or anyone coming up from behind Thatcher while Thatcher has a submission hold of his own and he's unsuspecting. Like, he caught him slipping. Like, obviously that part's fine. But the idea of you push this guy,
but that dude.
you push this guy since he came in to fucking matter, and then you have him and given that he's a submission guy, like, you had him get submitted, and I'm not submitted, but he passed out or whatever else. It's like, you could have came up with a million different ways to, you could have came up with something else besides him getting beat by a choke, getting choked out. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I guess the only thing worse would be like, had he made him slapped on like a Kimura and made him tap like a bitch. I guess that's the only thing that'd been worse than that, right?
Yeah. I don't know if Loomis has an impact finish he could have did. Like, you know, maybe they just didn't want to pin him, and then they just figured this is a better protection. But
it's worse.
Is it really? Like,
no, it's worse.
Like, because like he's a fucking submission shooter guy. Like, I'm sorry, like, just pin him. Yeah,
like, I don't. First off, I wouldn't be beating him with Dexter Loomis. Period. But if you must, do not submit him. Like, you should say, like, they should
no matter what it is.
They should have saved that for some beginning of some program with somebody where Thatcher, like, loses fucking mind because someone caught him slipping or whatever else. Like,
and then Thatcher was like, I'm gonna submit every motherfucker until I get back to you. Like,
right. But my thing is, like, look, maybe they are going to eventually do Loomis versus Thatcher. However, I don't want to see that shit.
Yeah,
the dude that doesn't sell versus a submission specialist, does that sound like a good match to you?
That don't sound like none like compatible, or like, that sounds like change the channel.
That sounds like the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. A dude that doesn't sell versus a submission specialist. Great. What?
It might as well be bungee jumping.
If you are going to do that, what I need you to do is move on to the AEW pattern of having time limits on there, so that I can go ahead and know that you're going to have that match. And I can say, well, I know that's going to be a 20-minute time limit draw, and I cannot watch it. It's the immovable force. What is it? The immovable force versus the unbreakable object, or whatever the hell that like thing is called. Like, I don't give a fuck.
Irresistible force versus immovable object.
Irresistible force, immovable object. Take shit off my TV screen. Fuck off. So, yeah, terrible. Great wrestling, bad main event. Welcome to WCW.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Even more bad stuff. New Japan. So Okada and Sugabayashi announced the creation of the KOPW title. So this stands for King of Pro Wrestling title. Some people have clowned and said it is Kazuchika Okada Pro Wrestling. Some people have clowned and said it is the Kenny Omega Pro Wrestling. And I hope I don't step on what Keepin It Strong Style is going to get on this, but I believe Josh is going to probably bring something up. I'll leave it for him to say regarding this whole thing, but I think this isn't New Japan. This is, and it's odd that people are excited about this now, and the timing of this and previous things that have happened in New Japan that just, because I seem to remember there were some ladder matches, a couple years ago, and just, people weren't too receptive to them, and now it's just such a good thing. But bro, this is goofy as fuck. So the KOPW title essentially is going to be 4 matches.
Well, can I stop you there? Why is it called the King? Yeah. Obviously, I know. Obviously, there's a bunch of different like things lost in translation. But why in the fuck is it called the King of Pro Wrestling title or trophy or whatever the hell they're calling it? By them doing matches that aren't like traditionally pro wrestling, they're gimmicks. Wouldn't this be the king of gimmick wrestling?
Right.
Okay.
So 8 men are going to have 4 singles matches at Korakuen Hall. Each man will bring a stipulation of his choice to the match, and the fans will decide by vote which stipulation the match will be contested under. The 4 men that win those matches. Right. The 4 men that win those matches will go on to the 4-way at Summer Struggle, but the winner of that match will not be the KOPW champion just yet. Instead, he will be a provisional champion, and he'll have to defend his provisional title. So imaginary belts, James, like imaginary belts of an imaginary belt, because there's not actually a physical title. Through the rest of the year, and the winner of the last such match in 2020 will be declared the KOPW 2020 champion and claim the trophy, with the process to repeat next year to describe the 2021 champion. This is as convoluted as anything I've ever fucking heard of in any promotion ever. And I don't know what Gato's doing.
And here I thought having a series of triple threat matches, so then you can all put the winners into a ladder match to win the North American title, was convoluted. This is even worse somehow. Like, you have there's 8 of you guys. We're gonna have a tournament. We're gonna pair you together, and you also gotta bring a gimmick. So all you guys are gonna have gimmick matches to get through this fucking thing, and then after that, after the provisional champion's name, will he then be having regular matches or gimmick matches that will be decided on the WWE app as well?
They did not say the defending the provisional championship if those will be gimmick matches or not. So those presumably could be singles matches.
Okay. That's nice.
But apparently this was Okada's idea, and he announced it at the press conference. I'm like, man. So whenever Okada doesn't have the IWGP championship, he loses his goddamn mind. Apparently, that's his new gimmick. This reeks of, like, I don't know if Gato is going through a horrible cocaine binge. I don't know if Gato is like just lost his mind. This combined with Evil being the champion, him and Hiromu Takahashi have a okay match. Yeah, I wouldn't have even given it 4 stars, but you know. Like, New Japan, like, seems like they're like, I don't know what the fuck's going on, but there's some weird shit happening, and it's a whole lot of cap going on too with people that don't want to call it cap, with cap shit that's going on. So I'll let Keepin It Strong Style hammer that home. I believe where they're going to go with it tomorrow, or in 2 days. So. I don't know, man. This is weak. Like, I don't know what the fuck this is.
Like, I think the matches are going to be good, but just like you said, it's not New Japan. It's like, I don't even know what the fuck this is. It's like, okay, so hardcore match, last man standing match, cage match. Okay, like, cool. Cool, I guess, but it's like, for some, like, what? In the pantheon, or in the ranking system or if you were to rank, like, accomplishments and titles or trophies, whatever you want to say, in New Japan, like, I don't see, like, why anybody that's actual, like, real top person, like, if this was a real sport, would want to put themselves through all this punishment to win, like, the 3rd most important tournament of the year. I'm sorry, the 4th most important tournament of the year. And then it's like, if they win this title, it's like, is this more important than the Never title? I don't think so. So it's like,
okay, at least the Never championship actually has a belt.
Right. So it's like, all right, heavyweight, intercontinental.
So like,
US, or Never is like, so you're going to potentially put yourself through a cage match for the 5th biggest belt, or 5th biggest championship in the least prestigious tournament that we have going. Oh, and Okada's going to go through that?
They throwing anything at the wall.
Nonsense. I'll watch the matches.
They throwing anything at the wall.
Like, it don't mean nothing. This shit means nothing. They're having a whole bunch of matches and having them do a bunch of crazy shit for nothing, for a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah. And meanwhile, people can't even react to this shit. Like, they just gotta clap. Like, it's so weird. So, even, with that, there are more tournaments in New Japan to be announced. So, like, when you don't know what to do, book a tournament. So, all the dates at Korakuen Hall seem to kind of like, everyone was kind of speculating like what would happen, whether this was a, quick way to try to do a best of Super Juniors. It turned out to be, with the booking mess that the Never Six-Man belts have, gone vacant now with Evil, joining Bullet Club and his partners in LIJ. So go through the teams real quick. So we have the 3-man unit of Kazuchika Okada, Toru Yano, and Sho taking on quite possibly the worst 3-man unit ever assembled in the history of professional wrestling.
Is it the Bullet Club?
Jado.
Oh, yep.
Jado, Gato, and Yujiro Takahashi. I don't know if you can find a worse team, like the Washington Generals think those guys are a horrible team.
I think I have one, Rich.
Natsuko got?
Tora, Natsu Sumire, and Saki Kashima.
No, Saki Kashima is way better than Yujiro Takahashi in this context.
What? Okay.
And Gato and Jado might as well be immobile and not be able to move.
I believe that Natsuko and Saki are better than them when they're really trying to wrestle. However, since they've done this Natsuko Tora push, all they're doing is trying to have bullshit matches for heat. Okay, so for example, one of the things that I like about Stardom, I've told you about this, they rarely, almost never do DQs, right? They have had either 4 or 5 DQs since it became 2018, right? They've done 2 since June with Natsuko Tora. I am over this shit. When you me talking about this during the beginning of the show about how I do not want no parts of Natsuko Tora shit is because it is they're doing fuck shit around here. I do not want to see her wrestle. I just don't. So even then, still it is close with Jado because Jado's a fucking mess.
So what? 31 years this biz.
A fucking mess. I still can't get over to how slow that man walked down during the fucking double title match. I still can't get over
he made Luke Gallows look fleet of foot.
He made Luke Gallows look like he was faster. He was. I can't even get it out. He made it like he was faster than Leo Rush.
So the bottom left side of the bracket, we've got Team LIJ, Sonata, Shingo Takagi, and Bushi will be taking on the Suzuki-gun trio of Minoru Suzuki, El Desperado, and Doki. So that's a pretty interesting match.
Yeah, it should be.
Then we got our right side, top of the bracket. We've got 3 of the best guys in New Japan. We have the ace, Hiroshi Tanahashi. We have the Golden Star, Kota Ibushi. And last but not least, Master Wato.
Oh my fucking God.
They will be taking on the Suzuki-gun team of Taichi, Zack Sabre Jr., and Kanemaru.
That's gotta be a real. Put Wato in that shit.
Young Ace and old Ace, Ibushi, they trying to, they telling you they're going to hand it down, to represent the main unit.
Golden Wato. How about it?
They're going to hand the Wato.
Golden Wato.
Then on the bottom right, we've got, Tomoaki Hanma, Togi Makabe, and Ryosuke Taguchi will be taking on the team of Tomohiro Ishii, Hiroki Goto, and Yoshihashi. So, there's a pin eater on every team. Some team is full of pin eaters, yep. But, I like 6-man belts in theory, So I don't know. I will go ahead and pick. Fuck it. Give me Ishii-Goto and Yoshihashi. Yes, I'm picking Yoshihashi to win a title. I feel horrible about myself.
I think you're only picking them because it's the never belt, and you think the word never is just inextricably linked to Ishii and Goto at this point. So it's it makes sense for them to win it. I'll go with Shingo and Bushi and Sonata.
Shingo, Bushi, and Sonata. So the belts go from Bullet Club to LIJ, or stay, kind of in LIJ with Evil.
Right.
But, all right. So, seeing Okada hang out with Sho and Yano is going to be hilarious. But yeah, so in America, New Japan of America, sneaky pick for best promotion this year. There's an 8-man New Japan Cup. The winner gets a shot at the IWGP US Championship. I don't know where that's gonna take place. They've casually mentioned this 6-month rule that I wasn't aware of. If you don't defend the title within 6 months, you can be stripped of said title. So I feel like Jon Moxley is going to send the little U.S. title in a FedEx, and whoever wins this tournament will accidentally, become the champion, much like Asuka after Becky Lynch elite level worked her way out of WWE. So so let's go through the bracket here. We've got in the upper left, we've got Carl Fredericks versus Kenta. So this match was actually going to happen in the New Japan Cup before COVID-19 hit. So they're going to do that. We've got Jeff Cobb versus Tangaloa. We've got David Finlay versus Chase Owens on the right side. And then the lower right, we've got Brody King versus Tama Tonga. So I like Carl Fredericks, but it's hard to think they're going to put him over Kenta. I like Brody King, but Tama Tonga's got tenure. I don't know if they're wanting to split those guys into singles or anything. Cobb's always a good pick too. Yep. They could do a Fredericks and Cobb rematch. They had a match, a couple weeks ago. I think I'm going to fuck it. Like, if you want to make a star, start making Carl Fredericks. Let Carl Fredericks win this shit.
I'll go with Cobb. It just makes sense. I'll go with Cobb.
So, I think Gato's like, I hated this past week of wrestling, like from seeing all the shit on Monday with the finishes, the Wednesday stuff not inspiring me, the Zack Ryder showing up. And I know all the arguments for Zack Ryder, if 2% of his following watches, like, come on, man, that's not how that actually works. Social media numbers aren't real, everybody.
Right.
So I don't know. It really bummed me out. And then like seeing the Dexter Lumis choking out Timothy Thatcher, I was like, this is stupid. The King of Pro Wrestling title, I was like, this is stupid. And I was like, man, James, can we just talk about rap like on the show? And then it was like, you quoted my old line. That's why we played the old song. They putting out trash, we're gonna rip them to bits. Like, and I really like feel fortunate to not have to come on here most weeks and just fucking bash the sport in with a baseball bat like we did this week. But because quite frankly, I've made those changes to where I'm not watching on Monday and Friday anymore because like I don't know how anyone can really at this point. Like, but this is a reminder, I would say, this week, like, it's never too far away from happening. Like, the things you enjoy in wrestling, they're never too far away from changing. So make sure you enjoy them. Like, as great as we felt 2017 and 18 were the whole time, I was saying, enjoy this time because this shit is legendary. Like, all these matches that were just like, just on another level, just feeling the way they felt. Like, you think about every era of wrestling, like 2002 doesn't feel like 1998. Like, that's really 4 years apart, but like, it feels like totally different things. And we never know. We could be moving into, a new direction in pro wrestling as a whole. I don't know why I'm getting so like philosophical about this, but
over 1 week.
Yeah, over 1 week, because you never know when
right.
like always, I see that meme where it's like you and your friends went outside and played together one last time, but none of you guys knew it or whatever. Like, I see that, around all the time, but like wrestling you never know when it's going to just change or whatever. So like, if there are things that you are enjoying in wrestling, hold on to them, cherish them, remember them, document them, and always be able to like, full tape on it and just enjoy it, because like it might change. So, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, this was a not a banner week for my professional wrestling fandom.
Yeah. I don't have much to disagree with you about. So, I guess I'm just going to sign off. Before then, I'll just say, watch Stardom. Thanks for listening to the show. Be sure to rate us on whatever app you're using to listen to this. Be sure to check out Powerslam.tv, one of the sponsors of the show. If you're a fan of independent pro wrestling, they have over 5,000 hours of footage from all over the world. You can use the code Social Suplex to get your free month's trial. Check out www.prowrestlingtees.com/Social Suplex to pick up some official Social Suplex Podcast Network merchandise. Be sure to check out some of the other shows on the network. On Sundays, Mondays, depends on how long we have to go bearing a show, we have One Nation Radio. On Tuesdays, we have Keepin It Strong Style. On Wednesdays, we have the Ricky Clive Wrestling Podcast. On every other Wednesday, we have Grumman Watches Shit. On Fridays, we have Get in the Ring. And on Saturdays, we have All Things Elite. And also, I will put in the description a link to Rich's new song, Straight Snapping, and video. So be sure to check that out too. So thanks for listening, y'all.
And if y'all want to leave a donation for the show, what to do.
Yeah, links also in the description for that as well. So thanks for listening, y'all. Later.